time for the Shop Report with
Barbershop Jay.
What up, sports fans? Welcome to the Shop Report special presentation of the Turnbuckle.
Yes,
I, of course, am your host, Double J, Production J, and my guy to my right, your left, is none other than D Gully from the CO Bus. What's happening?
everything is happening. You know, I talk a lot, I talk a while, so let's just get right on into it, man.
Absolutely. And speaking of talking, there was a lot of conversation that had taken place about this. Right, what's in front of us now is the current graphic showing AEW's viewership, which took a colossal hit week over week. And NXT has now beaten them 2 consecutive weeks in a row. So as the graphic kind of shows, does HBK have Tony Khan in the chokehold?
That's 27%. 27%. I mean, if my paycheck is 27% short, you understand how cataclysmic that could be. Now, it's for the second week.
If my parlay falls 27% short, see, there you go.
Be honest with you. If your parlay is 27% short, it's kind of like, it's frustrating, but it's nowhere near a 9-leg, a 13-leg parlay that hits on 12. Right. Never. You know what I'm saying? And Absolutely. Then imagine that 13th leg being short by like 5%. You a free throw away from cashing in on 5 figures, and you just happen to, and then a 79% free throw shooter in a game that they're up by 20, he bricks the never mind. I'm speaking on somebody's short experience, so I don't want to get anybody upset here.
Well, you're absolutely right. Scott Van Pelt has bad beats for a reason.
Yeah.
So, needless to say, hopefully here there's some good favor and fortune
for sure
comes our way. But what do you make of this? I mean, is this truly a sign of things to come? I told you, after living, no different than yourself, through what we saw with WCW, and like, of course, we've had WWE superstars mention that they have friends on the other side, and then we've seen TNA engage with NXT. We've also seen, again, guys like AJ Styles going and participating in other brands, if you will.
Right.
So for us, for the wrestling fan, I hate having a line in the sand, because the viewer, loses when there's less options.
Do we lose when there's less options? Or is there a threshold? Because see, to me, this ratings indicate to me that there's a threshold. There's a capacity for sports entertainment, for professional wrestling, that the viewer, I think, limits his threshold. It's a matter of, okay, who's going to get it? Is it going to be NXT or is it going to be AEW? Right now, AEW's got NXT has our interests, right? Remember, just several months ago, the story was different. AEW ruled that night. AEW had that tertiary or that secondary, actually tertiary. It had that. It had the third slot in terms of our capacity for the American sports entertainment, for American professional wrestling, right? Because Raw has it first, or SmackDown, depending on where you're at. They battle for first or second. And what's interesting about that is we're talking about one company actually pivoting themselves from having 3 different products to actually having 3 different brands. And that's what you have right now with WWE. You have SmackDown, you have Raw, and you have NXT. So if you consider however your work week is, you may have time for one or the other, or you may have time for 2 or the 3. Who's going to get the third slot? NXT is now becoming a real competitor. Not to say it wasn't before, but where AEW was dealing with more established talent, right? NXT has newer. I mean, the name is indicative of talent, up and coming talent, even if you got some mainstays there. But AEW had mainstay talent that we wanted to see that we couldn't get enough of. NXT is now competing with that mainstay talent with their new brand. I think these numbers falling, and I don't know that they're going to get higher between the 2 brands because, again, that's the third slot. That's the third ace. That's the third slot. So AEW does have some fighting to do, but I don't know when we're going to see 1 million viewers from either of these brands anytime soon, if that makes sense. And when I say brand, I'm saying NXT has a brand and AEW has a brand. Because again, I think at this point, WWE has done a remarkable job at distinguishing their shows as unique brands.
Yeah, and again, it's hard to argue that. I did wanted to ask rather, do you believe you talked about that moment, the moment where AEW was the talk of the town?
Yes.
Did they handle that the way that Eric Bischoff handled Mick Foley becoming the champion?
Absolutely. They absolutely did it. They absolutely handled it the same way. When they tried to trash Punk after he was gone, and it hasn't been right ever since. And similarly to what Eric Bischoff did with the Mick Foley reveal, the company didn't look the same after that. They never really recovered from where they were prior to that moment, even though the tide had started to shift back in WWE's direction during the Monday Night War. It still was a case where even during, there's a case where you can have a misstep, but you can correct, you can course correct and still return to being the dominant brand, the dominant party, if you will. There were instances where WWE, even though they were losing, they had great moments, they had great nights, but the tide for WCW for a time was just too strong. And likewise, WCW would have, when they started to struggle, WCW would have some one-off great nights and the tide would swing back. However, that Mick Foley moment is similar to this. I don't know what compelled them to ever try to use another league's talent to elevate yours. It doesn't work. It doesn't work anytime. Listen, Ric Flair showed up to WWF in 1992 wearing what belt?
Oh my!
Wearing the big gold belt that he had ownership of when he left, or was he fired? I thought he was fired.
I was going to say I thought he was fired as well, and then we seen something similar with at the time, the women's champion. When she went to WCW, she had brought it and dropped it in the trash, if you remember.
Yes. So it doesn't work. You try, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't work. And I think, you know what? I think about my example, I need to probably make that a bit more clearer, because it was a big pop for Ric Flair to show up on WWF at the time, WWF, with that title, because everyone knew what it was. You could try to pixelate it all you want to. You knew what belt he was wearing, right? Because he owned it. He legitimately owned the belt. So it was a big pop for them, not so much for WCW when he did that. But conversely, the idea of it is, my point, I think, actually is, when the talent is beloved, you can't hate him by trying to show shady parts of him. Unless he was out here doing something that some of our big name hip hop stars are accused of here in the news. You're not going to embarrass him or shade him. And then when the story comes out, when more details are given about the level of the discord that led to the disagreement that you tried to embarrass your now former talent, and it shows to only further make the point of CM Punk, make CM Punk's point, it was extremely embarrassing, and it was bad for the brand. I don't know who all thought this was a good idea, but it was a terrible idea, and it seemed like kind of desperate, and it hasn't been the same since.
Yeah, it really hasn't, unfortunately. And again, like I said, I kind of prefer to have an alternative, if we want to call it that, right? There's still names out there that were household names that carried the brand, main eventers.
Yes.
That are part of that organization at the moment. So definitely worth kind of keeping an eye on, at the very least, to see what they do. I know obviously the Khan family has done very well between, their endeavors with not just AEW, but again, Tony going, actually, I'll salute him on going to the NFL draft and having that on, the neck brace.
Yeah.
I mean, that's brilliant. But otherwise, I'm with you on kind of how they handled certain things. Speaking of handling certain things, if you remember, MVP,
yep.
He had a group.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, myself included, thought that they had a high ceiling as a collective.
Yes.
As a faction. Well, naturally, he's been since removed from the organization for quite some time. But in today's Tell Me, You Did Not Just Say That, we get this. Now, there's an individual here that makes this fact, and again, I'm going to quote here: the Triple H era is emasculating black men. I'm really hating it. Now, MVP, who has not since backed off of this, he actually doubled down in more comments.
Oh, really?
Yes. So again, as you see, there's the group behind that he was a part of.
Right.
But again, as he stated, a quote is, "You see it." Gully, we've talked about, I actually brought up coincidentally outside of, I'll say a different shade here. But I took it a little bit further, with the exception of Damian Priest.
Well, yeah, we talked about this a short while back.
But I again, this is very interesting to me, because we did bring it up, and you happened to point out at the time where you felt things were and otherwise had been. I'll go all the way back to when the merger first occurred. So not picking on one individual, but just since the merger occurred, that same night on Nitro, that same evening, you had Booker T become the champion.
Yes.
He had 2 belts. And he, a quote of his was, "I think they have plans for me."
Right.
When you go and take a long look back.
Yep.
Yes, we see this, and I hate doing this in that context, but the Samoan group, that's clearly on top. We'll get to them, rightfully so. But we read another quote saying with the Latin versus Latin, like, can Rey Mysterio fight anybody other than Dominic?
Right.
How do you feel about this as a whole? Because this actually goes back, like MVP obviously goes back a while.
Right.
So this is not brand new the way that the previous time we had to address it was.
Yeah. It feels like this would be a harder point to make if they had even one person of color in or near the main event scene right now. Now, at one point in time, Bobby Lashley wasn't he a WWE champion?
At one point, absolutely.
And before that, before the serious injury, Big E was a WWE champion.
That's right.
Now, before those guys, Kofi Kingston had a run with it, right? But prior to that, we got to go back to The Rock. And then where does it go before? You see, we've had great African American talent, Black American talent, spanning that entire era. But it seems as if WWE has positioned itself where once you elevate a Black American talent, it's so few and far between, and it's so rare that the argument or the observation is glaring. Like, oh, this is the first Black guy in a long time, or this is the first Black guy ever. And I think, short of giving, understanding if we're shooting on this, you ain't just got to give a Black guy the championship because he's Black, because y'all haven't done it in y'all history. However, why do they seem to be so far removed from the main event scene?
Well, wait a minute. Am I out? I'm going to take this out of context, but didn't Cody Rhodes say something a while ago? I'm going to have to find it. So just
okay.
I wanted to see if it instantly came to mind. And by all means, those in the comments right now. I know we have you on X, YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook as well, of course. Comment. Let us know if you guys can help us solve this thing a lot faster than I can. But definitely, we want to get your thoughts on this stuff as well. But I could have swore Cody did touch on it. But to your point, it has absolutely been a while. And if you have to kind of go back in that respect, I think that this statement is a little extreme, but the fact that it was validated by someone who was there, right?
Yeah, I would say validated by somebody who, even though he's not in the company anymore, it's still a risk for him to say that.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't know what the future holds for him. Whatever his interest may be in or around WWE. If he's got, family that wants to go into the business, or wants to get into that company. If he does have any future interests, right? This statement is one that I would say you put it at risk. And when I say you put it at risk, you have to recognize I'm saying that, you have to judge the fact that there's implications behind what you say. And so for him to just, push on it, right? For him to just say, all right, in spite of those risks, I'm going to say it. For him to be fearless and courageous enough, in his opinion, I commend him for it. You get what I'm saying? But so I think there is some legitimate, let's say, opinion about.
You don't think there's bitterness at all because of him being removed from? And again, I don't know the exact terms. It could have been the happiest of endings, but what I'm curious on is sometimes when you're on the outside looking in, you get a little bitter.
That can always be the case, but even if he's bitter, right? What's being said? First of all, I think it's important to acknowledge what's being said, and then, and also, rather you do it before or afterwards, and also the perspective of who's saying it. But just because I don't like you, or just because I know you don't like me, and you my biggest hater, and you really don't have anything positive to say about me. You may make an observation about me that's actually helpful to me. You know what I'm saying? Let's say I'm a fighter. Man, that dude is a joke. He this, that, and the third. He always drop his left. But you hate me. You never acknowledge when you get what I'm saying. But I always happen to drop my left before I throw a punch. That's something that even if you my biggest hater is worthy of me taking a listen to. In this case here, whatever, if MVP has an axe to grind with the WWE or not, a fan said it, and he validated that fan's opinion. In my opinion, because he's a guy that's been with the company that sees it. I think it's worth paying attention to. Like I said, for me, it's the fact that anytime a black guy reaches a certain level, you almost want him to hurry up and get into the main event scene, because who knows how long it's going to be before he comes there again. You get what I'm saying? And that's because of the way historically it's played out. Right? They always in angles against each other and angles with each other, and then that's it, right? You don't have like how on earth, what did Titus O'Neil do so wrong that he never got a single main event push?
That's a very good question. I actually seen him on SEC Network not that long ago, and coincidentally, where Aiden will be practicing this winter is the same university that his daughter will be playing basketball at.
Sweet.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Very small world, right?
Yeah,
I know he's still out in Florida, but it sounds like he'll be coming out this way. For those that are unaware, Oakland University there in Rochester, Michigan is where he's going to be headed, and where she'll be playing. So they made a run in the NCAA tournament on the men's side. So that name should be very familiar. Not quite as far as my Boilers, but that's a different story for a different day. Any closing thoughts on this topic before we take our first break of the day?
I think that is something worthy of. It's a worthy observation. I hate to see it. I like for black talent to be pushed in such a way that there's a balance between black talent being pushed in such a way that they're not just the affirmative action pick, or they're not pushed like it's not a DEI push.
Right.
But it's such that if they're talented enough, they'll be in the main event. So to the point where you never have to really consider, why are they there? How come it's been so long, or what have you? You get what I'm saying? I think there's more of it, and I think that's the case here. There's talent here, even at Shelton. I mean, not Shelton Benjamin. My goodness. Oh man, I'm drawing a blank here. Oh my gosh, my guy in the middle here of the picture, but Lashley. There we go. Cool. Mm-hmm. Even at Bobby Lashley's quote unquote advanced age, for him to be in the main event, for him to be one of Cody Rhodes' opponents, would certainly not be bad for business.
Agreed. And so with that being said, we're going to head to our first break. Again, this is from our sponsor, of course, Eddie G's Cookies. You'll find them on Amazon as well as their website, eddiegscookies.com. All the good stuff are no bull. There you go.
I'm Jordan Gudeman, and I'm the founder and CEO of Eddie G's Cookies. I was first diagnosed with a nut allergy when I was young. At the time, there weren't a lot of labeled items that said if there may contain nuts or there are nuts in the food, so my brother and sister and I baked a lot at home, and we enjoyed treats from mixes and things like that, but I noticed that it was not the same as what my friends were enjoying, and I started making up my own recipes. When it was time to pick a career, I decided to start a bakery so I could share my treats with everybody else. When I started creating my recipe, I was taking in all the things that I thought I was missing out on. A soft, chewy center, a crisp outside crust, and a taste that is just like it came out of the oven at a bakery. When I put all those things together, I'd come up with a recipe for a dream cookie. Eddie G's Cookies only uses the finest ingredients. We have all natural flavorings, no preservatives, and every cookie is made in a nut-free environment. The best part about Eddie G's Cookies is that they can be delivered right to your door. You can share them or not. We won't tell.
All right. And just like that, we are back with our next. Tell me you did not just say that. And this one comes from LA Knight. And to quote, "If I win the Money in the Bank contract, I will cash it in on Logan Paul and become the new U.S. champion."
Are you serious?
Imagine that. Sometimes I think we write it. Well,
yeah, but that would be such a. It's Money in the Bank. I mean, it's where the line between a work and a shoot it's like at that division between a work and a shoot where you can't help but acknowledge one or the other. They put LA Knight in a position to win Money in the Bank and not go after one of the big two titles. Who the heck? Who would ever do that? Yo, I'm going to take this Money in the Bank, this guarantee to go get a silver medal when gold could be there.
And here we go.
All right. Okay. Producer Jay, you win Money in the Bank. That's what you're going after?
Now, I want to remind you of this.
Go ahead.
When we went back, when NXT first started, and you had the mentors and the mentees.
Yep.
Okay. And you had guys like Daniel Bryan who had more wrestling experience than The Miz.
Yep.
And it really helped elevate the company and both brands for that matter. But of course, he was not the heavyweight champion. Again, we go even further back to the Mega Powers. And they, of course, the Macho Man, of course, didn't have the A belt, as you call it. So we don't take away in wrestling or in UFC or in boxing. We may giggle a little bit about, the popcorn champ, but we don't poo-poo on anyone based on their weight class or anything like that. So why, as it pertains to this, why are we viewing these in such a different light? Where did this stigma come from? Because I want to bury it. It's time to bury the hatchet.
You can't bury it. You can't bury it because that's exactly what they are. You mean to tell me there's a main event there's a main event match that you mean to tell me right now there's a main event match? If you had a pay-per-view, you could put a main event match that puts Logan Paul on a card, or when I say ahead, meaning at the end of a Cody Rhodes and Damian Priest title defense. There's a match that you can make aside from maybe the match that featured Logan Paul and Cody Rhodes.
Now, wait a minute. Wait a darn second. Why not? Why, if that was the time?
Give me the match.
Well, what if it was okay? What if it was LA Knight versus Cody Rhodes for that belt?
For what belt?
For currently Logan's U.S. title. And we're not at SummerSlam. We'll just say it's the Royal Rumble.
That's not what I said. I said right now you can see a match where the United States champion, or for that matter, an Intercontinental Championship match, main eventing a card that would also feature a WWE Universal Championship or a WWE World Heavyweight Championship match. You mean to tell me there's a match that you can make that can make that make sense?
What I'm saying is we've seen it before, and that's usually our guiding light.
When did we see it before?
Well, I had to go back to the 80s, but we have seen it before.
But no, all right, this is what I'm trying to get at to you. This is what I'm saying. The problem with LA Knight wanting to cash in a Money in the Bank to get a secondary title. Like, do you want to see Randy Orton with the?
But how many people?
Randy Orton's on his. Let's say he's near the end of his career. So it's AJ Styles. You want to see Randy Orton
losing another pay-per-view? No, I don't.
Do you want to see Randy Orton win an Intercontinental title, or do you want to see him with another chance at one of the big gold belts, the big two belts?
This is the problem with two belts at that point.
No, there's not a problem with the two belts. The two belts.
It is if you're going to have this kind of hierarchy system with them.
Go ahead.
Well, if we're going to weight it that way, okay, everyone wants to be the UFC champion.
Sure.
But you have lightweight, certain weights for that reason. And it doesn't take away, they're all viewed equal.
But they're weight classes. That's a difference. There's a difference between, remember, in professional, listen, Rey Mysterio won the World Heavyweight title. In the world of professional wrestling, that belt is indicative of where you're at in terms of your drawing power and your ability to advance the story of the company. And those two statements alone indicate not everyone is cut out for that. Not everyone is cut out for what?
For being the face of the franchise.
So do you think
everyone gets a Super Bowl ring, regardless if you were the punter, the assistant coach, the water girl. It does not matter your role, you still get the same prize, even if the quarterback gets a higher salary.
Hold on. I haven't fully made my point on why I'm troubled by LA Knight saying this. Or maybe I did. I
think you think so highly of him that he meets the criteria to you, that he checks the boxes. And unfortunately for you, this is him taking the low-hanging fruit.
Yes, that you're exactly right. And there's two reasons for that. There's two reasons why I'm troubled by it. Yes, I feel like LA Knight is, if not ready, very close to ready for a main event run. I mean, if the Miz got it at the time that he did, I think LA Knight is almost equally as prepared, right? And it takes a lot for me to respect the Miz. I don't like the fact that he's widely regarded as the best Intercontinental champion ever, but that's just me being in my own bias because I seen Mr. Perfect growing up. So he's the Generation Z's or what have you. He's the millennials, Mr. Perfect. But I digress. My point is with LA Knight, I think he's pretty close to ready for a legitimate shot at wearing one of those titles. So I wouldn't want to see him settle at the U.S. Championship. Secondly, the idea of Money in the Bank is to cash in. Who wants a U.S. title? Who wants?
We got a comment here.
Whoa, Gully. We were friends. Well, listen, because you like The Miz, listen, I'm from Cleveland, okay? Don't get it twisted. I live in Columbus. I love what Columbus has done for me, but, you know, when you dial the first 10 digits of my phone number, the first 3 will tell you that I'm from Cleveland. All right, I'll just leave it there. Even though I'm from Cleveland, the greatest champion, the greatest intercontinental champion that I ever seen was Mr. Perfect. Yes, ahead of Shawn Michaels, ahead of Razor Ramon. He brought to me a level of prestige to that belt that made it worthy of wanting to have. Almost to, dare I say, he made it such that when a guy who got that belt, you knew that they were well on their way to being a main eventer and almost could have legitimized that belt. You know, well, not almost could have, but legitimized that belt, but could have legitimately seen themselves as a WWF or WWE champion. I'm saying, for the purpose of you having a Money in the Bank, being what Money in the Bank represents, you want the biggest prize possible. If it's not the Universal Championship, it would be the World Heavyweight Championship. It would never be a title less than that. Because, like, I'm going to ask you again, if you're talking about, hey, you know what? We want Randy Orton on this farewell tour. We want AJ Styles on this farewell tour to go around. You want to see them do that as the Intercontinental Champion?
But they've been there.
I'm going to ask you again. If they're on a farewell tour, do you want them on the farewell tour as the Intercontinental Champion or as the as the US champion, or do you want them as the WWE champion or World Heavyweight champion?
I'm going to ask you. I'm going to counter. I'm going to question your question with a question. So,
all right. Well, we're doing Jeet Kune Do, huh? Okay. Somebody been watching Bruce Lee flicks. Go ahead.
Do you believe with the current stable that farewell tour or not, those two names are even possible at holding said title for longer than a circumstance like a Money in the Bank cash-in, a Drew McIntyre type of run?
I think that Randy Orton can get from, all right, do I think Randy Orton can hold the title from a SummerSlam to a Survivor Series, or for Survivor Series to a Royal Rumble, or from a Royal Rumble to a WrestleMania?
Yeah,
absolutely. It's a question of rather the universe and those that create the universe can see themselves doing that and still drive the next wave of talent. Can they see it going? Can they see Randy Orton being the gatekeeper for the Solo Sikoa or whomever other stories or narratives that they need and want to create for the talent that they have? I certainly think that Randy Orton can do it. He only knows how to handle the title, even though I hated his run because I was drawn into the story. I hated his run when he was going after it with Cena. Remember, he was the first 2 belts guy that I could. Well, no, he wasn't the first, but remember he had the 2 belts. And
absolutely.
He got the wins over Cena, and he got put over Cena, and he got put over Daniel Bryan. And I hated it because I felt like it was like
I loved it.
Right. Okay. So where's Randy Orton lost a step in such a case that he can't do that again, or AJ Styles?
It's not that so much that they've lost a step, because I told you Randy still participated in many pay-per-views, but the problem is he's like 0-7 now.
Right, because when they remember, this isn't what I'm saying. Like, okay, the challenge that WWE has and the sport of wrestling or sports entertainment is, it's live action comic books. And so you forget that a guy lost a match because you're trying to tell a story of the guy who wins. The person who wins is the person who wins is who you're writing for. You're writing for the person who wins the belt, or you're writing for the person who wins the match. Even in the case of a guy getting put over, right? You're writing for the person who wins. So even in the case of Cody Rhodes, his loss last year at WrestleMania was for the purpose of him winning, because they want to tell the story that the narrative that they're going with is going through Cody Rhodes. So even in that case, largely the winners are who they want to advance the story. They forget who they have him lose to, right? And if wins and losses don't matter, then Randy Orton can lose 7-8 times. But as you illustrate, the problem is us as fans. If we're buying into this, if this is our story, if this is the universe by which we want to pay attention to, we'll remember that he's 0 for 8, and 0 for 9, and 0 for 10. Like we can't help but forget that, because remember, this is the universe we're watching. This is the story you want to tell us. So we're going to be all in, right? If you want us to be all in to what we're watching, then yes, we need to be able to. We're going to keep a tally that Randy Orton is winless in darn near a year. So that's something that they have to fix. I'll go all the way back to the point I'm trying to make. We want Randy Orton or AJ Styles, one of those guys whose son is setting as a main eventer in this business, having given so much and having having delivered so much in terms of great matches and storytelling. You want to see those guys on top. So if you want to see those guys on top would mean having a run at the WWE title or the World Heavyweight title. On top would not mean having a United States Championship run or Intercontinental Championship run. Therefore, if you don't want to see guys who sunset with US belts and Intercontinental titles, why would you want a guy to cash in Money in the Bank for said title?
Because I don't believe that he can get put over. I think, unfortunately for LA Knight, he had it. He had it a year ago.
Okay.
And much like Finn Balor, this is the best he can do at the moment. And it pains me in saying that. What we're seeing is so many, it's like clones of our personal faves, Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, but even Dolph cashed it in for the World Heavyweight title.
Good point.
Hey, I can't believe you made that point. I can't believe you walked right into that one. Even Dolph cashed it in for the 1A belt, not the B belt. He cashed it in. Look, 1A, 1B. Or let's say A1 and A2. Not B1 and B2.
But now remember, you're talking about a 2-night event at Mania.
Yep.
And so you have to have quality across the board.
Okay.
If this comes down to LA Knight versus Logan Paul, or a triple threat with LA Knight, Logan Paul, Cody Rhodes, who's we're going to assume is dethroned at that point.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I'll get to what I thought was going to occur, which is the I made you on that final run that you pointed out, that farewell tour, which would be Randy versus Cody. I don't believe that's going to occur, unfortunately. But Cody needs to close his chapter as well. And then you have the return. What I'm really banking on here is the fact that we have the return of so many faces of the franchise.
Yep.
At some point in the next 6 months, we're going to see the final boss. We're going to see the head of the table. We've already seen Seth freaking Rollins. How long can CM Punk, who just sold out the Allstate Arena, pretty much on his own, no disrespect to the rest of the group, but the fact is, the last time I think he was there, I was there. And I haven't lived in Chicago in a while. So It is, you can only, this is the problem with having that hierarchy of belts in that manner, that you need to restore honor and integrity. I'm starting to sound like John Cena, to these other areas, in that they are of value, that they aren't mid cards.
So how does LA Knight winning the US championship prepare him for winning?
Because of every bit of what you said. I'm glad you walked into it, which is what he truly is capable of.
So he has to get a Money in the Bank in order to do that?
I mean, he was showing up in Logan Paul's pool. I'm like, he's in Puerto Rico? Like,
yeah. What I'm saying, right, but what I'm saying is Money in the Bank. Like, Money in the Bank. Let me try this.
And if you're watching out there and you hate what we're saying or you love it, by all means, and comment live.
The Money in the Bank, no matter what we think of him and his run, no matter what you may think of the world title picture, if I got the opportunity to cash in at any time and possibly become a champion, why would I go for a mid-card belt? If mid-card belt doesn't put me anywhere closer to the main event, I already think LA Knight is ready for a main event title. What would him having a US championship prove to me? Somebody like me. What would him having the Intercontinental Championship prove to anybody like me? What would it convince anybody like me who already thinks that a guy like LA Knight is ready for the big stage, ready for prime time?
He had. Wait a minute. Why wouldn't he be?
Why would he need a U.S. championship run to do that?
Because you know what? He's gone around for too long with nothing, just kind of hanging around, kind of being almost the most known unknown. And
I hope it's just that.
If he doesn't, Gully, if he doesn't, or even if he did go the Ziggler route and fall short. How much longer? I think he's in his mid-30s too, dude. How much longer does that, become until it turns to, what?
Yeah, I don't think, what I'm saying is, I think him having to go with the Money in the Bank route to do it, I just think sells Money in the Bank short, is what I'm getting at. That's my problem.
No, I think if we constantly saw it going towards the same thing,
sure,
then you know what? Add a third one. Then add a third one that is only specific to that, right? Like we wouldn't have if it couldn't be used for all of them. Then,
or make them specific.
Yeah,
like you got.
Hey, look, dude, we might be onto something with this because
you make them specific, and you had like a battle royal.
Imagine that. Imagine a ladder match, and we get we're talking the Hardy Boys, the Dudleys in Edge and Christian again.
Yeah,
and except there's two up there, and so someone could theoretically climb up.
Yeah,
and they have the power of choice because they made it. They get the first choice.
Yes.
You're not going to grab both. You can only grab the one. Which one do you choose?
Right.
Or is there more than that? This creates an entirely different dynamic because now you can throw Rey Mysterio in there. People have different priorities in life, right? Not everyone wants to be a CEO. Not everyone wants to be an entrepreneur.
Sure.
So to suggest that every WWE superstar wants to be the Universal Champion, I think that's too cliche.
All right, see, you know what? Okay, production Jay, you
that's
actually
right.
got me on that one. Yeah, that's actually a pretty compelling argument. Like, not everybody want to be the man. They don't want that. There's something in it. There's something in it in life that they want. Or there's some aspect of a career that they want that isn't always to be the center of attention or to be the main guy. All right, I get it. In that case, Money in the Bank, they should have Money in the Bank matches for every title.
I don't know if I would say every single one.
Listen, a fatal 4-way for the WWE Universal Championship. A fatal 4-way for
I would say if you want to call them the mid cards or the other belts,
you still ain't gave me a main event. You still ain't gave me a main event match that you would see over. You still haven't given me a main event match featuring an Intercontinental Championship or the U.S. title that you would see as a main event over a World Heavyweight title defense or WWE Universal Championship defense. You still haven't gave me one. Give me one. Give me a reason to make that a main event match.
What about wasn't it at one point we had that would go WCW.
But that's fine. Go ahead.
Bret Hart, Lex Luger.
They battled for the WWF title.
No, I thought that was the U.S. Championship.
Oh, you talking about you talking about Bret Hart
Clash of Champions, that right? Wasn't that at Clash of Champions?
Okay,
one of them.
Okay, Bret Hart, Lex Luger. All right. Well, okay, cool. That's
I had to use your boy.
yeah. Yo, that's all right, cool. Hey, I can't knock that one. I can't knock that one. That was a great match. Who was the WCW champion at the time? Hogan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Creative Control. Are we surprised?
All right. So in this applying that type answer to this, does the world champion, a universal champion, have more in-ring talent and ability than that WCW champion? Is Cody Rhodes a better wrestler than Hulk Hogan?
Well, oh, come on, dude.
Is Damian Priest a better wrestler than Hulk Hogan?
Okay, but remember now, there's more attributes here. That's like saying I'm a better three-point shooter. That doesn't make Steph Curry the best in the world.
Okay, so if not, all right, so I see where you're going. So that means that there's a level of, that would imply, I should say, that there's a level of parity between Damian Priest and Hulk Hogan in this scenario.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. I'm suggesting that that's what that would mean. Now, is that same level of parity exist with Cody Rhodes and Hulk Hogan?
This version?
Don't you dare. Don't you dare do that to Cody. Don't you dare do that to the American Nightmare. No.
Okay, all right. Well, wait a minute then.
So let me make
how about Cena versus it was Seth Rollins. That wasn't that long ago. There's two guys right there. Two guys that have been to the mountaintop.
For what? The
U.S. title. We've been here before. This is what I'm saying. We are getting back. This is part of the TKO takeover. This is Triple H knowing that there was a point in time throughout his career that you could have held something else. And as long as you were holding it, it meant you were someone. You did matter. And it validated you in that company. And, again, as we've stated on more than one occasion, it is not everyone's time. And I think this is really a true statement for LA Knight that as far as his time, I don't know when it's going to be because I think his time is going to be up, unfortunately.
Really?
I hate saying it. I don't want that statement to be true. But to your point, if we want to go off of your premise, and that's the best he can do, unless I'm right, that these things do hold merit, that you are going to want to show up for a main event that's for a U.S. championship.
Yeah.
And that hurts. That hurts. But it has to. That's why part of this is hope. That's what I'm shooting on. That Triple H knows we had plenty of people hold other belts that were not the belt, if you wanted to call it that.
Right.
And let's be honest here. When we were at Toys R Us decades ago,
yeah,
pain in saying that.
Dude.
How many, that main belt was gone, bro. Yeah. How many of us had no choice but to be the U.S. champion or the Intercontinental champion or the hardcore champion?
See, you got to be an insider like me. My dad worked at Hill's department store, so I knew when the truck came. So I knew when to ask for a belt. Truck came on Thursdays. I knew they was going to be in stock on that Friday. You understand me? No, actually, truck came on Tuesdays. So I knew to go to Hill's department store on Wednesday because I knew it was going to be there. Because see, truck came Tuesday night. That's what you just had to know. You had to be an insider like myself to know these things. But absent that, you know what? You got a point. I was looking something up when you were talking just a second ago. And I found out that LA Knight, you'd be surprised how young that man is.
Well, enlighten me.
He's in his 40s.
Okay, so we talked about sunsetting here.
Yeah, he's in his 40s.
I mean, this is playoff mode Braun.
Don't say that. Don't ever say that again. Don't ever say that. Because playoff mode Braun ain't been that has not happened. That ain't showed up. Well, no, it showed up maybe last year, but they ain't showed up once every 4 years since 2018. Playoff mode Braun. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I'm going to let you chew on that. We're going to take a full time out here. You think about that for a second. Let's get into some more. Tell me you did not just say that, and some raw results as well.
All right, Kate Cunningham, and you watching the Shop Report. I'm Homie Diallo, and you watching the Shop Report.
My name's Chris Murray, and you're watching the Shop Report.
You're Jay Knight, you're watching the Shop Report.
Max McKee, you're dropping in on the Shop Report.
Barbershop Jay, Quentin Hines, Super Bowl champion. I'm ready. Let's do it. I'm on.
Hi, I'm Mars Man. We're from Mercury Stadium, and you're watching the Shock Report.
Hey, I'm Billy Butler, and thank you for watching the Shop Report. Hey guys, I'm Les Norman, former Kansas City Royal, and you're watching the Shop Report.
Commander Brown, Detroit Rivers Mountain Training, and I'm watching the Shop Report.
Hey, this is Doug Flynn of the New York Mets. Well, a few other teams, of course, too. And you're watching the Shop Report.
I'm Matt Ramos, and you're watching the Shop Report.
How you doing? I'm Rajay Davis, and you're watching the Shop Report.
How you doing? This is Nelson Figueroa, former Major League pitcher with a lot of teams. You're about to listen to the Shop Report.
All right, and just like that, we are back. D. Gully, your final thoughts on LA Knight wanting to cash in Money in the Bank against Logan Paul.
It's low-hanging fruit, but given what we've just talked about, it should put him on the prime track to the top of the food chain in WWE. That is a world heavyweight title, or WWE championship, or the Universal Undisputed Championship, however you call it. So if he's got to go this route, then I'm all for it. I just want him to be in a position where we're talking about him having meaningful matches and meaningful moments.
Fair enough. And so, speaking of meaningful moments, a moment today on Pat McAfee's show was none other than the boss himself, Triple H, talking about WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, all of which, again, I knew the rumors were out there swirling. Indianapolis has done a fantastic job with the swimming, as we talked about, for the Olympic trials. And they're making a big push right now as a city. And they were able to lock in multi-events here with the WWE, which is brilliant. Obviously, that's where Raw
all
was.
in the same year?
I would say between 24 to 26.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. Otherwise, might as well
just get an Airbnb and then
literally.
I'm good.
Yeah. And so he also had something else to say about this Raw coming to Netflix. They will not be held to the PG guidelines, and SmackDown will gain the extra hour.
Okay.
Raw after dark. Think about the Attitude Era. The teenage mind in me hears the king referring to a certain animal and could only imagine what could have been. And
yeah, probably therapy sessions.
Well, amongst more. But what are your thoughts here on where we're going to be trending? Because again, as you pointed out, well, what was the reason for me to keep Peacock or other decisions of that sort? But now knowing that, we had, I talked about whether it was a little bit of the blood that was shown, in some matches, or the Rock being having a sailor mouth.
Yes.
There was enough hints that let's see how this goes. And clearly it was welcomed with open arms. And so this is where we are heading back to, which is a place we've been once upon a time and a place we think of with nostalgia. What say you?
I'm older now. So I'm saying, like, I'm older now. So it hits different. It hits a bit different. So I'm a little bit more cautious about it now. All right, so let me explain. We talk about the uncensored, edgier content, PG guidelines. Probably a bit more cussing, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And of course, a bit more adult content, adult situations. It's professional wrestling in the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, in terms of them defining new edges and areas of boundaries by which you can push your product to its limits, it's still professional wrestling and it's still viewed as family entertainment. Will they go so far that they can't come back from? Or will it go so far that they have to come back? Like, I would hope not to have T&A.
It's unnecessary. Shout out to Jonathan.
Yeah.
John, hey, by all means, why do you feel that way?
Yeah, why do you feel it's unnecessary?
Because on my end, I'm looking at it. It might be. I think the quality of the product is there more than it was, right? Where we're not in an era of now where we have valets, if you will, like we did in the 80s and certainly in the 90s as well. Right. And we don't have Linda McMahon, who's running for Congress either.
Right.
So I never understood quite why because that's where it all originated from, if my memory serves me correct. But I do believe that the content itself is at a high enough quality that, to Jonathan's point, it really isn't necessary.
Right. And so my concern is that to go to have the permission to go to the edge and redefine where those edges are you just going to lean in that direction at the expense of valuable wrestling content? Where I'm saying, I don't mind if my wrestlers cuss, but I'm not necessarily interested in all of the women's matches that come out in just like pasties. I'm good.
Why not? No, I'm joking.
No, because I'm gonna tell you, as a guy, for me in particular, there's a level of, is it attainable? Is this realistic? Is this possible is this within my reach or my abilities to be able? And it isn't. So I don't need to see a whole bunch of sensuality where.
So you don't want to drop from.
All right. So why did we need to see Mae Young's puppies back in 2000?
Oh, but why did we need to see her get RKO'd?
Because that's wrestling, and that's anybody can get it. That's wrestling.
Those are the two extremes, Gully.
No, yeah, I know, bro. One extreme or the other. You know what I'm saying?
Talk about a legend killer, right? That's you got to truly embody it, right?
Right.
No, I agree with you. Yes, we all could have lived without that.
Yeah.
And to your point, the women's division has gotten a quantum leap better, despite some botches that we've discussed.
Yes.
But overall, it has been overhauled. And you've actually had Chelsea Green on record of saying if she were champion, she actually would want it to be called the Divas Championship again. So that didn't actually make our cut originally, but since we walked right into it, what do you think about them wanting to kind of revert back to a pre-existing belt?
Hold on, say that.
So Chelsea Green said if she were to win the women's championship, she would want it. She would want the old Divas Championship.
Oh, okay. Well, it falls in line with the direction that they're going. If they're going to an edgier Raw, right? It's sort of invoking the return to the edgier, more rated R attitude, whatever you want to call post attitude, ruthless aggression era.
Remember a while back we talked about with the TKO merger that we could potentially see cross branding, and we got a taste of that with the NXT event taking place in Vegas at the UFC's center.
Yes.
Do you think this is the first step, or now what would be the second? Do you think this opens the door for that to really kind of take place, that you could see a Nate Diaz coming over and potentially and this is where it kind of gets a little bit when you blur those lines, yes, there's benefits, there's pros, but there's also potential cons too, because do we really want to see a bare knuckle fight between a Nate Diaz and Kevin Owens?
I think so. I think to see Nate Diaz get put through the Spanish announce table would be a thrill.
Why always them? Well, it's not always them, but
yeah, it is. It is because that's the thing to do. No, to see that, that's what it is.
Like the Spanish announce table lines matter as well. Like, come on.
And to see it ain't because it's not because I hate Nate Diaz, but I think he's a guy that would be. It would be thrilling to see that happen. To see that clash, if you will, that intersection of sports action, combat sports entertainment, combat sports and sports entertainment. To see that in the fusion, it would be interesting to see. Like, what I mean? I don't know that we might see Jorge Masvidal off the top rope on a splash, but that would be an interesting thing to see. So it'd be cool to have those sort of surreal moments. If this had been a few years earlier, to actually see the Undertaker get in the ring with Brock. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. I mean, it might be cool to see. I think though, when you get to the point of being more raunchier, edgier, are you doing it for the sake of selling that, or does it help? Are you doing it in a way where you're helping to elevate the product? All right, here's what I mean by that. during the promo, during the program between The Rock and Cody Rhodes, him getting bloody, and cussing them out. That was edgy, that was raw, that was gritty, and it was great sports wrestling entertainment. It did help to advance the sort of desperation and doubt that maybe Cody Rhodes could have conveyed, or the Cody Rhodes fans could have endeared, could have understood from The Rock's position. The Rock being, F-bomb this, F-bomb that, and so on, and so forth, enhancing his final boss persona and becoming darker and edgier and more imposing. It did help to sell that story, that darkness. How much is the more tantalizing aspects that we fully expect to see? How much is that going to sell the product, or are you just going to tune in for that just to see it, or is it going to help advance the product? Like, are we gonna get a bombshell that just like wears like sheer? She looks like so on and so forth, but she actually can throw down inside the ring. Are we gonna get that? Or are we just gonna get Are we gonna just get more of the Divas era, which is just great looks and great eyes, Googling them before the word Google became Google? You get what I'm saying?
Like, I do, but I think there is a healthy balance between the two that you could, again, we've reached a point now, as you kind of, even with our previous segment, that we have a talent pool that is very deep. And for those that maybe aren't, now this gives them an opportunity for some light that they otherwise may have not had an opportunity for. Or potentially, again, that cross branding that we've continued to discuss and we've watched evolve really before our eyes. It kind of not, I would say, at a consistent pace that is certainly worth continuing to mention. Speaking of continuing to mention, to close out SmackDown.
Oh boy.
1, 2, 3, 4. Jacob Fatu has joined the bloodline. And we're going to have a bloodline acknowledgement ceremony.
Oh boy.
Okay, I talked about earlier that, and on a previous show, that I really thought we were going to get our version of Batista versus Triple H by way of Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton as a way to kind of close this thing out, right? That your celebratory run.
Okay.
It looks like we're not going to get that. It looks like all roads are heading to Solo versus Cody in your old hood at SummerSlam. I'm going to say this: Jacob Fatu is the real deal. Okay, if you know anything about him, he's related, but he watched those guys while he was out doing things that in a different light than Shawn Michaels. He was doing things that, of course, led to his incarceration, as an example. And so I always salute guys that, made the right choices after learning some life lessons. And so, but what he has is what everyone hoped Solo could be. Solo is the teddy bear, dude. He is, you can tell he's the little big cousin.
Okay. He's the little big cousin, right.
And the real leader of the babyface assassins,
yes,
should be the guy on the far left here. Also, that Photoshop. Woof. Somebody needs to go back to school.
Yeah. yeah.
They might as well put him in a Milwaukee Bucks uniform or something, dude. Like, no. Like,
man.
Yeah.
You never know. Our fans might show us one. Here's lately.
There you go, right?
It's over with.
But he's got the charisma. He can wrestle, I would say, better than Solo. He is what Solo's supposed to be. And this is what took so long, in my opinion. He lost 35 pounds to basically get this role.
Wow.
In preparation. So again, salute to that.
Yeah.
And so he comes here and they completely, again, take out Cody and Randy and all those guys on Friday. And now it looks like we have them in a Money in the Bank match as well. We'll get to that in a little bit. But just now that we have the four, right? For a while there, we were like, is it going to be Uso? One of the Usos, Yeet, no Yeet, that joins this group? Or how do we end up at a 4v4? What say you now that we know who the fourth is for sure? Another dad joke for you on a Monday. And
so it's finally coming together, right? You know, I've been very critical of the bloodline. With Mr. Fatu coming, they are looking formidable. They're looking to be that premier faction that is going to be a problem for anybody in their way, for anybody that they see or that they deem is in their way. That's great. All right, like when I see photos like this, it's starting to come together. It's starting to come together. I'm a bit more optimistic about it, but I still don't see it there yet.
What don't you see?
I don't see Solo winning the singles match.
I almost swore.
we got Cody Rhodes.
But hang on.
If streak up here.
This is the problem I have with it, because you're absolutely right that now Solo has won a solo match. Thankfully, I mean, otherwise, I mean, what, he was 0-24 or 27. I mean, it was literally worth a lottery pick. And apparently that might have been what Jacob Fatu was, but this cements the staple. I just think they may have to pivot. They may have to rearrange their own head of the table and let Solo step aside a little bit and defer, because this guy, he walks it and talks it in a way that it's not artificial.
Right.
And that to me is better yet, I'll let you say it.
That's the legitimacy of that's the bloodline that we thought we were getting.
Thank you, Gully.
Arrived. Yeah, that's what we thought we were getting. Now it's arrived. Let him become that, and then the remaining members will align, or will connect in some type of capacity where it legitimizes that, and then they can be the force to be reckoned with inside of WWE. And I set up for a heck of a Survivor Series matchup between this group here and Uncle Howdy and right, which is what I would love to see.
Here's the thing. The Wyatt Six, actually, they came, they saw and conquered.
Conquered what?
Well, they conquered everyone that was in the back, which seemed to
which
included Chad Gable.
Yeah, even Dark Gable, yes.
We're gonna get into Raw here in just a moment with them. It's going to be really interesting that you brought them up, but I wanted to know, is that where you feel like they're best suited? If faction versus faction to right from the jump, or do you think before we shoot on this, they would have to go after the Judgment Day first? Or
yes, yeah, do away with the Judgment Day. Let the Bloodline do that. So that way,
I love it.
To do his believe, right? Oh, I believe in the Wyatt Six for sure. I believe in that. It's a great swan song for Bray Wyatt, and I think that they are in the right spot at the right time.
Is that the Eric Bischoff?
If that would be fantastic.
Absolutely.
That would be that would be fantastic for him to have found us and comment on it. That would be great.
Absolutely.
But go ahead.
Yep. No, I was going to say, by all means, kind of tying it back in with that group, just the direction that they're headed. Before I kind of spoil what took place in this evening's Raw. Any thoughts on these guys with the direction that they're headed? Because obviously that they had a grand entrance, and so now you got to keep it going.
Oh yeah, you talking about the Wyatt Six or these
Oh
guys?
Yeah, are you kidding? I believe everyone that was laid out just to kind of put names to faces.
Yeah,
were NXT members.
There we go. There we go.
And it sounds like what that is.
What? Oh, that's fantastic.
Absolutely. Honor and a pleasure, to say the least.
For sure.
And speaking of today's Raw, we had Pat McAfee, who was a victim to those Wyatt Six members on his own program, on his own show.
Right.
So naturally, Michael Cole needed some help, and who better than Mike the Miz from the real world?
Whoa. Whatever it means.
And so, any thoughts on him going to the booth? Is this a sign of things to come
for the Miz?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. The Miz is great. The Miz is great on the mic in that capacity, right? I'm from the era of Lawler and the King. Michael Cole is certainly. I'm sorry, not Lawler and King. Lawler and JR. Michael Cole. I bet you would.
Oh,
Megan.
dude!
I
Bet
you would.
Yeah, Megan would love nothing more than Pat McAfee, The Miz, and Michael Cole.
No.
Dude, you're out of control.
I was just playing. It's fitting for the Miz, right? I've learned to respect him because I didn't like him. I didn't think he was that. Did I say he was overrated? I didn't get it. I didn't understand it, but I come to respect it. After years, it just took some time. I was probably disconnected from wrestling or from WWE during his prime. So when I look at him and when I re-immerse myself in the world, I'm still going back with everything that I love was the best, right? The nostalgia syndrome that people have. And so as I get older and I sort of find that proper balance of being a fan and respecting it for what it is, respecting what you see for what it is, I come to give him a little bit more respect. Not a little bit more, but it's growing. He's growing on me. To have him in the booth, that'd be great. Great JR. Great Jerry Lawler, to Michael Cole's JR.
Wow, that's the ultimate compliment. It really is. Other than Eric Bischoff in the 90s, I will say that.
Yeah.
Speaking of The Miz, later in this evening's Raw, he finds out that R-Truth volunteered them for a title match.
What?
And he said he did it out of love. And you can see the look on Miz's face as to what that exactly means.
See, I laugh at this, but then I remember what we talked about just a little while earlier about Triple H and emasculation.
Are you serious?
All right. All right. So if we were to ask and we were to get that person's opinion, the one that the MVP replied to, the one if we were to get his opinion, I'd like to know his observations on R-Truth.
Well, remember when we had, it was like, what, 2 weeks ago? It was the ice cream truck scene.
Yeah.
An exchange that took place. That was a little out there. But
yeah,
Ron Killings is a little out there.
Yeah, he is. He is. I think he's a guy that can make it work, but we've also seen him be taken a bit more seriously. And in doing so, he delivered on matches or on results. You follow what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So when I see him and I see, the evolution of his character, I wonder if this is an observation. I wonder if those who believe in glass that black wrestlers are under glass ceilings, I wonder if this helps support that theory.
Wow. No, it's a valid point. And with that being said, as you see the merch on me right now, the merch store, actually, we are on our way to having it on YouTube for Eric Bischoff and those that have seen. And we're also going to take a quick time out once more before continuing with this evening's Raw.
SK Cunningham, you watching the Shop Report. I'm Homie Diallo, and you watching the Shop Report.
My name's Chris Murray, and you're watching the Shop Report.
Oh, you're Jay Knight, you're watching the Shop Report.
Max McKee, you're dropping in on the Shop Report.
Barbershop Jay, Quentin Hines, Super Bowl champion. I'm ready. Let's do it. I'm on.
Hi, I'm Mars Edwards from Mercury Stadium, and you're watching the Shock Report.
Hey, I'm Billy Butler, and thank you for watching the Shop Report. Hey guys, I'm Les Norman, former Kansas City Royal, and you're watching the Shop Report.
Commander Brown, Detroit Rivers Mountain Training, and I'm watching the Shop Report.
Hey, this is Doug Flynn of the New York Mets. Well, a few other teams, of course, too. And you're watching the Shop Report.
I'm Matt Ramos, and you're watching the Shop Report.
How you doing? I'm Rajay Davis, and you're watching the Shop Report.
How you doing? This is Nelson Figueroa, former Major League pitcher with a lot of teams. You're about to listen to the Shop Report.
All right, and we are back. And for those that don't know, WWE's WrestleMania XL documentary will debut July 3rd at 7 p.m. on their YouTube channel. This was actually supposed to get launched the night after Mania.
What happened to what was the delay?
I'm going to blame editing.
Oh.
I'm going to go solely post-production. As someone that deals with this stuff regularly in the digital space, part of what prompted me to even create a solo entity at one point in time, many moons ago now, thankfully, still be able to do that, is waiting on content. And so it makes perfect sense to me that it got lost in the editing room.
Or maybe some changes had to be made in order to protect the names of the innocent.
Well, as you heard, it's supposed to be behind the curtain.
Yeah. You know, it's amazing that in this era, well, not in this era, it's amazing that the WWE in itself can do these things. It can take itself and give you the actual perspective. Like, listen, we know what you're watching, and we know what we intend to show you. But then here's the other side of it. To show you behind the scenes, while at the same time expecting you to buy into what is being shown as delivered. It's interesting that they are able to do this now almost with ease. It goes even back to well, not even back to, but if you look at the post match, the scrums, the media scrums that they have.
Yeah.
You know, some of the winners,
which we're still looking for our media credentials for those in production that have seen the show. We definitely again email the shop report 365@gmail.com with what to do next, and we will be there.
Yes,
we will road trip it. We will be in business class, whatever needs to be done.
Right. Absolutely. So it's interesting that WWE can do this. I don't imagine how much of this was available or would be willing under any other such leadership to tell you how we do the things that we're telling you are authentically, or that we're selling to you as authentic while the cameras are rolling. I can't get enough of seeing it. I just think it's weird. Has all the same. Like, it's weird for me that The Undertaker is so much more talkative now that he's retired.
And you know what though? I know I tagged you in that clip. And so we'll handle this right now. How did you feel about that? The mystery of, from what I'm understanding, that Mark Henry, as big as he is.
Yeah.
I remember doing this in school where I had great friends, but you just pick on someone and it was truly all in fun.
Yeah.
It sounds like Mark Henry was that guy.
Oh, yeah.
And he said himself that he had gotten in trouble and they'd sent him to Canada because he had threatened to,
he was going to kill him. He was going to kill him. He was going to kill Shawn. He was going to kill Hunter. He said, you too little. Yeah.
And it was about some crutches.
Yeah, they took it. He was injured. They took his crutches.
And Taker, he finds out when Mark says it was Paul Bearer,
right,
that did it. Now I said, well, it had to have been Taker. Paul Bearer can't hold the crutches and the urn.
Right. Right.
And based on Taker's response, like, dude, he nearly keeled over in laughter. Like, as soon as he said that, when he blamed Paul Bearer, like, in that moment, it resonated with his actions.
Yeah. Well, see, that that shows another aspect of Undertaker being a great locker room leader, because he kind of knew two things were at hand. He knew Mark Henry had to calm down, had to get with the program, but it was only certain people that Mark Henry would respect things like this happening to, for him to get with the program. Everybody can't tell you how to do it. Some people can. So it had to be somebody like Undertaker to play the prank for Mark Henry to calm down, right? It had to be somebody that he has the utmost respect for, so that way he can lean in. If you have siblings, your siblings can tell you something that your parents can't, even though your parents are telling your siblings the same thing. You follow what I'm saying? Somebody else, you ain't gonna listen to everybody when it comes to it, or you're not gonna understand it unless it comes from a certain way. So for the Undertaker and or Paul Bearer to be a part of the same prank that Shawn and Hunter probably could have played, it made sense because he finally understood. He got it after that point. And that was pretty cool. That's always great to see, it's great to see, guys that are able to have fun in that way. Like there was this other, did you see this one that Maven? I think it was Maven that talked about taking the bump from the Undertaker, taking the chair shot to the throat.
No.
Oh, yeah. That's hilarious. So Maven, he has this. This is Undertaker's the American Badass.
Yeah. Okay.
Maven has this spot where Undertaker, he gives him a chair shot, but what he does is he gives him the chair shot where the chair shot goes at his throat. Right. So Maven sells the chair shot, and so he was taught that he talks about, he's like, yeah, when you hit it, throw it, right? Throw the chair so that way when it hits the impact, it looks like he throws the chair. It looks awful. It looks serious. It looks great. So he does it. So what happened was he gets to the back and he says, and Kurt Hennig, he goes, man, you gotta protect him. And Maven was like, what do you mean? Yeah, you gotta protect Taker, man. You gotta protect the angle. You gotta protect it. He says, if I were you, I'd be wearing a neck brace. Maven was like, oh, for real? So yeah, I don't want to do bad. He's trying to make his mark in the company. Like, yeah, I don't want to. Of course I'm. He was thinking about it, right? He's probably turned to something like, well, I guess so. I got to do it. And so if it were not for the Undertaker laughing, if Undertaker would have just been able to just sell it straight, Kurt Hennig would have got Maven looking crazy out here.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's how much of a practical joker people were.
See, and I'm telling you that part. We'll see what this has. What we'll behold with the weight, and we'll see if it actually comes out next week. So we'll start there.
Yes,
we won't hold our breath, but just in case, it would be also interesting to see how much of that, because they've had home runs, right? I mean, if anything was a shot in the arm for the women's division, and even for the Usos, it was Total Divas. So anything that gives some additional camera time to see some of these guys, it usually benefits them. Speaking of benefiting, here we go.
Whoa!
El Campeon,
freaking Rollins, right?
Who, in the uncensored version, may have a different nickname.
Oh, really?
Well, I'm just saying, if it's uncensored, they can say,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There we go. Right.
Yeah. Right.
You stay with me here.
I got it. I picked up what you laid down. I ain't see it for. Oh, okay. There we go. Yeah.
And shout out to the viewers out there too. By all means, chime in on what you think with everything that took place on tonight's Raw and where we're headed in here, where this bus is going. Seth Rollins proposed a stipulation for their match at Money in the Bank. If Priest wins, Rollins will never challenge for the world title as long as he's the champion.
Oh.
But if Rollins wins, El Campeon has to leave the Judgment Day.
Really? That's the statement?
Our esteemed host, it seems like he's enjoying his day off.
Yeah.
We're working on it. One thing at a time. I missed my parlay today. That would have gotten me probably on a monthly subscription after that. Oh. Yeah, dude, he's the only one. Manny Machado got the 2 hits. Everybody else covered. It was just that one guy.
Oh, man.
2 walks, and walks don't count as bases.
They don't count as bases. Oh.
Uh-huh. Remember last time he said he was at work and he was eating chips?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the championship episode. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of, we'd have some kind of Doritos belt, or what was it, Lay's Ruffles, something along those lines.
It was something. Yeah.
So, but what do you think is going to happen here with this? Because this is a mammoth stipulation.
Right. So Damian wins. Seth never challenges for the WWE title championship as long as Damian Priest has it, right?
Correct.
Seth wins. We showered today. Thank you very much. Yep, shower each day helps keep odor away. Kids, you have no idea what I said. Ask your parents.
There you go. Shop report after dark.
All right. But if Seth wins, he has to leave the judgment. Oh well, we know what's about to happen here. We know what's about to happen here for sure. Or we certainly think so.
Follow people in their soup.
Exactly.
So what do we think is going to happen here? Because you're spelling it out like it's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, this is what pushes Damian Priest out of Judgment Day onto his own, where he can truly start to fly, and then, for that matter, pushes Finn Balor back into the single ranks where he can flourish again.
Why? What's holding Priest back as a singles competitor while he's holding a belt with that group?
I don't know. That's a question that I have myself.
I'm not quite on board with that, because it's like, well, how much higher can he go? In Rollins' case, if he were to lose, okay, great. There's Cody, potentially 2 belts.
Right.
At that point, and potentially reuniting with the head of the table and going after that as we get into, the Battle Royal season and Romania season and so on. So there's a number of avenues Seth can go.
Yes.
My concern is you take that title off Damian Priest, and then and on top of that, you take the Judgment Day away, you might as well send him to Puerto Rico for a month or 2.
Yeah. Right. You got a point there. You got a very big point there. Very good point. Still, I think Seth Rollins reclaiming that title, then immediately having to go after maybe a Cody Rhodes, maybe a
No. You know what? You were close to the.
Okay.
I think you were already close, and I chewed on it a little bit here. You're going to have a feud between Finn and Priest.
Yeah.
While Finn's going after Seth for the title, because Seth is the one who, of course, took it from him.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Yep.
Anybody in the comments see it any differently? By all means. But unfortunately, what does that do for Damian Priest? It makes him the third wheel.
Right. Now he can go after Gunther.
Oh, we're getting to Gunther.
Yeah.
Oh man, you were put the cart in front of the horse there.
Wow. Yeah.
Gunther says he cannot wait to see the match between those two, being Seth and Priest, and hopes the better man wins.
Yeah.
He then says at SummerSlam, the better man will become the lesser man in the ring with him.
All right. Mic skills. Okay. Mic check. 1 2 1 2. Okay, Gunther.
What do you say?
I say I'm looking at a triple threat match, and I can't stand those.
Oh no. You think so?
Yeah. Absolutely. Gunther had some time off. So did Seth. So they're fresh, still getting back used to it. They have a they have a triple threat and reshuffles the deck.
Wow.
Yep. That's what I foresee.
So earlier in Raw, during the show, Michael Cole, who was then by himself, of course, because The Miz had to go figure out what the heck was going on, was showing everyone on TV what a VHS tape was, which, well, again, add a gray hair. However, they played the VHS tape.
Okay.
And here's what we got.
Whoa.
Uncle Howdy starts. The camera's panned solely on him.
Yeah.
And he asked Bo Dallas, how did it feel when your brother died?
Whoa, man. They're taking it to the edge.
Bo Dallas responds, and I quote, like the most important thing in my life was taken away from me. Like nothing was ever going to matter again. All I ever wanted in my whole life was to be like my brother. I looked up to him. I wanted to be him. Worked my entire career, my life, so I could have the opportunity next to him. We were going to rule together, and we finally made it. We were there. We had it. Then it was taken away from me. There's no one else on this earth that feels what I feel from his loss.
They're going some real deep direction. See, wrestling or WWE knows the position that they're in. So I think this is highly cathartic for Bo Dallas, for Mr. Rotunda. And it's great to see it play out on the screen because now when you see darker elements of the Wyatt Six going forward, they have something that is a worked shoot to play out in front of your eyes to justify the darkness by which you're seeing. I like what's happened here.
Dude, to me, not only does this solve and officially confirm that Bo Dallas is the sixth member, but because if you remember last week, I showed you there was only the five.
Right.
When I thought I decoded it, he was a part of it. So it is at least feel vindicated in that.
Okay.
This to me is the interview of Mick Foley with JR.
Yeah.
But darker.
Okay.
Because if you were that interview took Mick Foley from here to here.
Yeah, it did.
Everyone.
Yeah, it did.
What happened there would not surprise me if someone cried watching that.
Right.
Because that is an unfortunate reality that many people can relate to.
Yep.
Similar to what Mick Foley had stated with his.
Right.
This to me was the best segment. Like I'm glad they took the time that they did because I had asked you about a month or so ago if they had missed it, if they were coming too late at this point.
Yeah, if the buildup was right. Yeah, if the buildup was overdone.
I couldn't be happier with how this is lined up to be, and that was arguably the best segment I've seen all year. I'm curious how high this bar can go because they are raising it.
Yeah, what key is for me, what in the end is WWE, is professional wrestling. What does this mean for them in the ring? For each of them in the ring.
So this is where it gets interesting, right? Because we brought up the direction where the program and the business is going.
Yep.
And you stated you didn't want some of the sideshow aspects of it, and some people have been kind of pushed back on the notion of kind of the supernatural and that type of thing, like we used to have. But when we look at the glory years of this, those were all a part of it, and it didn't need to just walk the straight and narrow with reality. And so now that we have the autonomy to push boundaries.
Yep.
I think these guys are nailing the role, but to your point, I do get concerned but I don't, because of Bray Wyatt, because of what he was able to do in the role. And this is what terrified me about them, is holding them to that standard.
Got you.
But they're delivering.
They are.
So where do you think now that this group goes? Is it just simply in-ring ability that you worry about? Or is it, character development? They can stick with this for a very long time.
It's the storytelling.
That you can only be in mourning for so long?
Well, yeah, because why at 6, like, what is the story you're telling? Like, how long is was it Eric Rowan that's still alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
How long is he gonna wear that mask?
Before they did what they did with the original Wyatts, with Bray in the original group. Is that where you're going with it? That at one point the character development needed to take a step forward?
Yeah. It's a matter of, okay, it's still professional wrestling. Like, when will this and their formation and their promos, when will it add up to something of benefit to them in terms of great matches? Or are they just gonna scare everybody to death?
I feel like Kane wore a mask for a long time.
Yep.
Taker had Paul Bearer for a decent amount of time.
And he had his hat.
That too.
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt set a table for them that they should be able to carry for at least a pretty significant amount of time as well.
Yes.
At which point, yes, they're going to get all faced with some decisions on how to keep that thing going. But I think for the moment, enjoy what we're seeing, because this will be something we reflect on as well.
Sure.
And unfortunately, the timing of it, right? The untimely aspects of this that are all too real.
Right.
So again, I'm with you that, okay, a character can only go on for so long, but this isn't really a gimmick.
Yeah.
This is where it blurs the lines. That was a real person. This is somebody we all seen. I got to see him at a house show.
Right. This was a real.
This is not Husky Harris.
Exactly. This was as real as the documentary, the Bray Wyatt documentary that had come out just a week before WrestleMania. So yeah, so there's a great deal of authenticity here. It's just a matter of, okay, make it translate into professional wrestling that you have us that we're watching. Let us tune into. Let us not forget why we're actually here watching this and what we believe that you can do.
Right, absolutely. And so, oh no.
Uh-oh.
Oh my gosh.
Uh-oh.
All right. Yep. You know what? We're going to cut to a 30-second. I can't believe. Oh my gosh. Hey, for those that don't know, we got merch. Here you go.
What it do, sports fans? It's your man BSJ from the Shop Report. And guess what? The shop is now open for business, baby. If you're on Facebook, go to our fan page, The Shop Report, click on more, and then shop to view all products. Or if you're on Instagram, click on the shop tab to see all our products. I mean, what you want me to do? I'm selling merch here.
Well,
Braun Breaker. Who do you break this time? Who's on
Kaiser?
Uh-oh.
Kaiser got hurt.
All right, how many referees came to the system?
No, this one, it looks like an ankle injury, and it looks legit.
Whoa.
Yeah. Really? Dude, I said it, Kaiser's on a roll. Kaiser roll. Like, and now he rolled his ankle. Like, God darn it.
Wow. Well.
Oh, I was shooting on that.
Yeah. Somebody shot the leg. Hold on, wait, my bad. Also, let me say it right. Sweep the leg.
Yeah,
sweep the leg.
Right, kid. Wonderful for those that are unfamiliar.
Right.
What happens now if he's hurt, dude?
Oh, if he's hurt, then Braun Breaker doesn't have anything in his way.
That is just crushing to me.
Right. He's crushing to you. Imagine being his ankle.
Right. Oh man. I'm just that one stings for me.
Why?
Because I was shooting on him. I was shooting, like, the time was now for Kaiser.
Okay.
And instead, what we get here is a match with Karrion Kross, who beats Kofi Kingston.
Uh-huh.
And the rest of his group then destroys Xavier Woods in the back.
Yep.
And he held up a number 7 after he won. What apparently that was in reference to was his 7th WWE champion that he's beaten in a match.
Whoa.
So is this the pivot in our in our friend's voice? It always feels like Kross was losing, but are they going to start building him up now?
Sure. Why not?
Huh.
Why not? Why have him do what he did in the way he did and then just leave him there? I
mean, I guess it would have to be the storyline for me is where the struggle is at, but that can be, that's creative in production.
Right.
That can be done. As far as traditional Triple H, larger than life looking guys, he at least fits the criteria, I would say.
Yeah.
So there's nothing from that end really holding him back. I haven't seen him on the mic enough, at least recently. But otherwise, I mean, this might be the direction they have to go then, right? It sounds like Gunther's obviously on his way, really kind of moving up.
Yeah.
Quite a step there from where he was,
right?
According to you, with this belt hierarchy. And
not me and this belt hierarchy, WWE and their belt hierarchy.
We'll get there one day.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet we will. You'll figure it out.
Speaking of getting there.
Uh-huh.
Imagine that.
Well,
it's official.
All right. 6-man tag match. What is Cody Rhodes' team?
RKO.
Yeah. RKO. Well, Money in the Bank, 6-man tag. We get to see who you like getting over in this match. I think this is what I've been waiting for. I think this is the time for the Bloodline to actually do the job. Get a win over these guys. Establish yourself as we're here. We're legit now. We got the band together. We got the foundation together. We're legit now. Let's go ahead and win and put some doubt in Cody Rhodes. Right. He hasn't lost as a champion yet. We need to see that. We need to see a chink in the armor. We need to see some vulnerability.
Again, I think we're setting ourselves up for SummerSlam we'll get rid of the background guys and it just be those two. If that's what it looks like from all indications are suggesting that it's going to be those two.
Okay.
I can't say I'm particularly thrilled about it. Comments, if you guys like, I would rather see the two on the left. Give me Cody, give me Randy, SummerSlam. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Solo and Cody.
Don't do it for you, huh? It don't hit right. It's missing some spices and sugar.
I honestly, I told you, it could have been Jacob Fatu, and I would have been cool with it. He's already kind of had that impression on me.
All right. Right.
He's been here a week. And we're ready to make him CEO. Like, it is.
Yeah.
But, the 98 Degrees, the boy band that was the Bloodline.
That is gone, and I'm glad for that.
But it's not because, it is, okay. All right. He's benefiting from
whoever it is because whoever is the catalyst for it, I'm glad it's gone.
I'm with you. I mean, I am. But does this not feel like what we had with Crown Jewel? Like with Cody and Logan? Do you really think Solo's going to beat Cody Rhodes?
Yeah, in this match, yeah.
No. I'm talking about at SummerSlam. Well, then, come on. Like, what are we doing? This is what I'm talking about. We were sitting here, LA Knight. Would you rather see LA Knight and Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam? I feel like there's a mythical crowd behind me, like, meanwhile, we got this one who barely talks is a mute.
Yeah. Oh, you're not having this, huh?
No, man. Come on.
No, this is what has to happen. You put RKO with Cody in this match. You put the Bloodline and their advantage in numbers on the other side. You finally get. Oh, shoot, I don't even know if
But that sounds like a SmackDown episode. It was Friday.
Yeah.
We sing this on a Friday.
Yeah, you were not happy. Perpetual meltdown alert.
That's a SmackDown episode. It's not a premium live event.
What? Why?
Do you remember the dude that used to blow like the green mist?
The Great Muta?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like Solo needs some kind of gimmick like that. I'm not buying the Thanos fist.
You're not buying the Thanos fist.
Give me Jacob Fatu, who can rock the mic. And if you're going to put one of them against Cody Rhodes, someone who can walk it and talk it, not look kind of like Damon was looking at Money Mike
Right.
Save this here. Save this match. Production Gully.
Listen, I got it. I got it right here. We need someone to put the doubt in what we see from Cody Rhodes. We have the Bloodline. We have RKO coming together, looking like they're working the teammates, looking like they're working together, and they sick of the nonsense that's caused by the Bloodline. They get the advantages, they get the numbers. Someone gets an inadvertent, can't get a spear, but yeah, we got.
So you're gonna have people barred from ringside. That's what we're doing.
No, we don't have to have a barred from ringside. But basically, what I see here is Kevin Owens and Randy Orton get moved out of the way in one way or another. Cody Rhodes takes it on the chin.
Oh, he's gonna take it on the chin.
Yeah, he takes it on the chin, and the count starts.
The solo Sacco.
Yeah.
Which Sven Gulli gave Mick Foley on Saturday a one-of-one, I guess, rendition of Mr. Sacco. So for those on MeTV, Sven Gulli, gave Mick Foley one of those. I did terrible on the trivia. He said people would give him a hard time, so I had to fulfill that. Look, Cody's going to take it on the chin, and you're right. Solo and those guys are going to win.
Yep.
But it's going to be because of an RKO out of nowhere on Cody. Give me Randy. Give me Cody. Enough of the boy band.
What if
the one
Randy joins the Bloodline?
Randy doesn't need them.
No, you don't. I just said
right now, thanks to Jacob Fatu, they don't need him.
Right. So
what they need is the head of the table to come back and have Paul Heyman, fanning him and really and Yeet no Yeet alongside him. And then what? The final boss. I mean, that sounds kind of lopsided. That's always been my problem with this. Unless somebody goes heel, that would be entertaining.
What's that?
How could we even this out on that side? Because I love the idea of Randy versus Cody, but how could we get this bloodline feud to even itself out in a Mania worthy match?
I don't know. I don't know because I don't know. I don't know that you can.
This is why they gotta pivot and push. I mean, I'm talking about push, meaning more so like shoot Jacob Fatu out of a cannon right now on a V2 rocket. Because that's what it's going to take. He's got to take over.
Yep.
And at that point, maybe then you get Yeet on your end.
Right.
Then Solo goes back with the others.
Right. Okay.
And now you got a little bit of you can even it out a little bit.
So you get some parity.
Again, like we know Ice Cube won the battle but then Easy had all of the licensing and production. So he won. And so how do we do that with this group? Because you put the final boss and Roman together. I mean, you would need the whole group. You'd even need the other three on the left to participate at that point.
Yeah, that's a lot of star power.
But that's where we've been saying that for months now, that's where we're headed. But The problem is trying to actually get this to work. And I think the first thing you'd have to do is create somehow a feud within the existing bloodline, but you haven't given most of those dudes can't, that sound effect Barbershop J plays. That's what most of them sound like, or Boom Hauer.
Hey, man, on the tape about
Megalomart, man.
Right.
And so I'm looking at this. I feel bad for the people in Toronto. You deserve better.
I think they are right.
I know. I'm just look, this, if it ends the way that I believe it will, we need Randy and Cody.
Okay, so how do we get them out of a feud? How do we get Randy and Cody out of a sort of a simmering feud between Randy, Cody, and Kevin? Versus
Kevin's third wheeling the way he did with Sami Zayn.
Oh, ouch.
Good guy.
Yeah.
I might have to pay for his drop now.
Yeah. No. So what happens is in this match, I'll just put it this way. In this match, Kevin's gonna be out the way. Randy's gonna get frustrated. They can't win the title. They don't like Randy. RKO is not a friend of the bloodline. Nonetheless, Randy sees an opportunity for a title above everything else. Randy helps Bloodline secure a victory, and then Randy and Cody have words, and Cody gets that. Cody gets that RKO out of nowhere, and it sets him up for next pay-per-view.
And then he gets, the Thanos hand.
Yep. Yeah.
And Solo gets to say he beat a world champ.
Yeah, he does.
Imagine that.
And that's how I think it goes down.
Boy, where's Jim Cornette? And I'm sure he'd have a field day with this.
Oh, he's over there shouting now. He probably looking at the same thing too.
Right. We'll have to check that out for sure. Moving on.
Because I know this pains you. Yeah. Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
We were right. I say we, because we're a team here.
Yeah, we are a team. What were we right about?
That this is where we were headed.
Yeah.
We were absolutely right. This is the last two Money in the Bank qualifiers for Raw. Since we had the last, so this men's match is going to be fire. Who wins in this triple threat next Monday?
No. First mind says to me, Sheamus.
Drew. Did we talk about Drew already today?
I don't think we brought up very much of Drew.
I'm almost positive he had said something about his plans, and I'm trying to remember exactly what those were.
Not sure.
Oh, man. Oh, that's going to bother me. Wait a darn second.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Also, while I'm trying to figure this out, I did forget that before Kaiser rolled his ankle,
yeah,
he called Braun Breaker Braun Strowman. Drew McIntyre. This was it.
All right.
If you remember, Drew says he's going to join the Money in the Bank ladder match and win it, and then he will cash it in and become champion while Punk can't do anything about it but watch. Matter of fact, when he was on Raw this evening, he had a little memento.
Oh, did he?
That bracelet, as you see the colors of the Chicago flag there.
Yep.
But it has two names, CM Punk's dog and his AJ.
Whoa.
Well, I was going to say wife, Gully. What did you think I was going to say?
Oh, no, I knew that, but
the Shop Report After Dark. So we get this. You're telling me somebody outside of not named Drew McIntyre's going to win this thing?
I mean, when you put it that way, it's not. CM Punk can make that happen. CM Punk can make his nightmare come true. CM Punk can make his nightmare come true. I'm sorry. It still cost him that match. Still cost him a Money in the Bank qualifier.
Side note, when and I agree. Shoot, because he's not cleared, but that's never stopped him before.
Right.
Ooh, darn it.
No. Let's make it make sense. Drew McIntyre's winning this qualifier.
Well, but wait a minute. We could get. Here's the thing. It depends what avenue we want to go down with Sheamus, because in that match earlier tonight with the one where I mentioned Kaiser got hurt. It was Braun Breaker again versus Kaiser.
Right.
Sheamus caused the DQ.
Oh.
Sheamus attacked Kaiser, and he went to put him through the announce table, but got speared by Braun.
Oh.
So, and I do want to point this out.
So wait a minute. What are you suggesting by that when it comes to Sheamus?
That potentially you could see like a fatal four-way between like Sheamus, Kaiser, Braun Breaker, and who else are we missing here? Maybe not Bronson Reed, but who we're missing one there.
No, might be right.
Okay. I like that.
Right.
So, ooh. All right. So let's say that is the case. Who you got? Those out in the audience, by all means, hey, look, we are of the people, not above the people. There are many of you spanning. I want to definitely say thank you across all the platforms there. Of course, if you got a business, by all means, shopreport365@gmail.com. You can have your company's logo up in that corner. And of course, we run ads during the program as well. Those sponsorships are available today with a reach of over 40,000, by the way. So you get your money's worth. Yes. And that's just per platform. Sorry, my bad. It's a lot bigger than that. Who do you got? Who you got, Gully?
All right, hold on. So give me my. I got to write it down. I got Sheamus, Drew,
no,
Dragunov, but no. I mean, Dragunov. Hold on. Who just tore up the ankle?
Kaiser.
Okay. Sheamus, Drew, Dragunov. Who else did we say? Bronson.
Yeah.
And Bronson, right? Those four.
Bronson and Bronson.
Braun and Bronson.
Oh, are we onto something with a tag team? Oh man. They would have, at least they would have the namesake. There we go.
Yeah.
Who you got?
Hey man, I ain't even gonna hold you. That's an interesting matchup. Those are several red herrings, but I'm undeterred, man. Drew would come out of that.
So then who comes out of just this three here then? Because it seems like all roads are indicating that we got CM Punk and Drew McIntyre at some point, whenever Punk is cleared.
Yeah.
But is it a title match? Does Drew win something? If so, what does he win?
Nah, Drew's got to get it right. Drew's walking into this. Drew's going to win this match. Drew's going to get that qualifier. Drew's going to get to that Money in the Bank. And he's gonna along the way, he's gotta have to meet up with Punk. Nah, man, I like Drew winning this.
I can't disagree. I really can't.
And here's the problem. The problem is like I said a few moments earlier, we brought up so many interesting, captivating red herrings that it's almost like it would betray or just totally undermine what the buildup that we have by saying Drew's gonna win because Drew needs to win. But it's hard to argue against Drew putting things together to win. And those in his way are, with all due respect, are distractions from him and his goal. Get that belt, get CM Punk. Or get CM Punk, get that belt. Drew's going to be undeterred for that.
What do you think of a fatal four-way of Sami Zayn, Kaiser, Braun Strowman, and Sheamus? Oh my God,
man, bro, you piecing me up tonight, man. I don't got enough water to drink, man.
And you're not at the house this time. I'd bring you one.
You piecing me up, man. I tell you, dang, bro, like, how do I?
Here's the thing: I put you on the spot, but sometimes you got to understand too, like this stuff. It's because of what happens throughout the evening.
Yeah.
That the way my mind works, dude, I'm always constantly already thinking that far ahead. So
right. Okay.
And we flirted with the idea, but now it feels like this thing's really going to go down. Because
what thing?
That fatal four-way.
Yeah, it does.
With just adding Sami Zayn.
Now, why would you add the Intercontinental Champion?
To make it for that belt.
If only you're making it for that belt.
Oh my gosh, dude.
So Zayn doesn't walk out with his belt. Now he would really kill if he were able to walk out with that belt.
Go full Mark Henry.
Yeah, well, not really. Oh yeah, yeah, but no, that would elevate him for sure.
Man, I'm again. It's in fairness to you, that is tough. I really like. To me, that's why when I'm saying Kaiser's on a roll here. Yeah, you're talking about a match of, again, both. I don't know who I would put over necessarily, because Braun Breaker and Kaiser could, dude, if Kaiser got that belt, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like that's to me, as much as I've kind of been pushing, I guess I would say.
Yep.
Like, to see him get over in that fashion, it changes every bit. Like, he's not an Imperium crony at that point. Like, his legitimacy as a singles competitor.
Yes.
Getting in the ring with those additional three.
Yep.
Who, again, quality is there. I've said it. I really hope that this Kaiser rolled ankle is not that serious, because it would be really disappointing if it kept him out, because that would just, man, that would blow it for me. And that's why, again, now that mentioned that it would be those four, it pains me even more that happened. And again, Sheamus did. I want to remind you, Sheamus did attack Kaiser.
Yeah.
So to suggest that it's going to be all of them, I'm all for it. And if you remember, oh my gosh.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, dude. Oh my gosh. This is here we go. Here we go.
Oh.
Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship is set for Money in the Bank. Okay, there's two, Gully. There's two.
Hey, I'm gonna be real with you. Braun Breaker coming out with that title.
There's no way. There's no way after what just happened tonight that this stays one-on-one. They can't.
Oh, I see what you. All right. Now.
Oh my gosh! And it's already locked in, so they can change it.
So at the moment, Zayn Breaker, Money in the Bank, Intercontinental title.
Yep.
However, the circumstances around it would be we're adding Kaiser. No, we're adding.
Yes, Kaiser and Sheamus.
I don't see Sheamus doing much in that.
Well, now remember, he's been first Kaiser attacked Sheamus. We went for the knee. Then Sheamus came out today, right, and attacked both of them. And of course, the spear was laid by Braun on Sheamus, which actually saved Kaiser from getting hammered even more.
Right.
So he's not going to take lightly to that. He may not come out on top of this.
Yeah.
But out of those three, then.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know who I would pick. I really don't. I could very well see Gully. I would say this.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a stipulation here.
All right.
I'm rolling.
All right. Go ahead. Yeah. You cooking. Go ahead.
The winner of whoever wins this, whether it's by retaining, we go to SummerSlam, and now it's a one-on-one. And I'll let you choose who wins and then who the pair is at SummerSlam. Sounds like you've eliminated Sheamus. So of the three, who walks away out of those three really at Money in the Bank? And then who's your essentially rematch pair going into SummerSlam?
Actually, I hate to, at the risk of looking like I'm taking the cheap route, here's the pair right here. Braun is taking that title at Money in the Bank.
Oh, all right.
That's okay. Braun's. I'm sitting on that. I'm sitting on because it's not a disrespect to the run that Sami Zayn has had or is having, and I think there's enough there that they can do a back and forth. I don't think Braun's momentum, the way it's been coming on, I don't think it gets stopped at Money in the Bank.
Wow. I love it, dude.
Yeah, so Braun's walking out with that. Braun Breaker's walking out with that. What does that mean for Sami Zayn, though? Now, what if I'm wrong? The unbelievable factor, the it factor of Sami Zayn. Nah, I ain't wrong. Braun Breaker taking that. Look at him. That looks like the man that's next to be the IC champ.
I think this could kickstart him higher. I think this very well, I hate to say it this way, I think this would be peak Kaiser as a singles competitor.
Yeah.
But that man on the right here,
that's what I'm saying.
This springboards him. This takes him into a whole nother level.
It does.
Man.
Yeah, I think he does it. And then at SummerSlam, in a triple threat.
Give me him and Brock Lesnar.
Oh. Ooh wee. Yeah. If Brock ever decides to come back.
You know how he is too. Like when he Brock is wired where you call this fiction all you want, but if you see how that rivalry with him and Kurt Angle was,
right,
it was, call it strange fiction then, because there was a lot of elements of reality and truth in that.
Sure,
I could easily see him coming back and say, "Okay, you're the guy, you're the new, stallion, if you will."
Yep.
You want to kick off Mania Night 1 like that?
Wow. Yeah. I mean, hey, I remember, was it no, several years ago. Remember how Mania got kicked off the outdoor one, Levi Stadium, right?
Yeah.
Ron versus Seth. They was just get right out the way. That'll be a heck of a kickoff, right?
So again, we'll see, right?
Yes. But I'm gonna tell you like this: Braun is walking out with that title. Yeah. Braun is walking out with that title. The other guys are going to scramble. Come SummerSlam, we're going to see a triple threat, perhaps for that title. Braun's going to do the business again. He's going to do the job again.
Oh, I love it. Dude, I'm telling you right now, I love it.
Yeah, because he's on that tear, and it's going to take something extremely special to slow him down, and I ain't seen it yet.
Chad Gable defeats Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed to qualify the men for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match.
Good old Dark Gable. Oh, wait a minute. Dark Gable versus Braun Breaker. What do you think?
I'm not sure, because here's the thing. Chad Gable went back to the Alpha Academy hoping for support, but after Otis refused, look who showed up. You ready for this?
Yeah. Hey.
Wow. Isn't that something?
That is very much something. Like, hey, how you doing? Nice to see you again.
Right.
Remember all that trash? Right? You know what I'm saying? And the receipts. Oh, now you need somebody. Now you need a friend. Go figure that. They ain't got no problems with me. Right? That's what they said. Like, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Yeah, he has the look of worry on his face.
Well, prior to that happening, after, of course, he had just emerged victorious,
right?
The lights cut, and one of the members of the Light Six scared him off.
Yeah.
So he had previously did a kind of vignette or mic segment rather, and just saying, he wasn't going to get ran off, and well, he did. But looks like he found some new help. Kind of closing tonight's Raw, we had Lyra, my girl Lyra winning. I just wanted to make sure I pointed that out because that was a Money in the Bank qualifier. She beat Shayna Baszler as well. So little bit of, I guess, validation that maybe she might stay in the mix after all, when I was really worried that that wasn't going to happen. And then, of course, I did want to mention that, here we go. If you remember, I told you that our Truth, the Awesome Truth,
yes,
we're in a match.
Yes.
Here's your outcome.
Oh!
And new.
Oh, posing with the boss. Wow. What do you think of that?
I think it's time for The Miz to be a heel. Like he is.
Well, he's going to, but now he's going to the booth.
I think you're right.
I mean, you can have heels in the booth, of course, but
I mean, we said it for a while that the state of the tag team, the stable.
Hold up. Was this a straight up tag team versus tag team match, right? This wasn't like the entire division wrestling for. Okay, cool.
No, for once, right? It's late. I caught that.
Yeah,
you're right.
Exactly.
Oh man.
So yeah, now look at what happens when you put a tag team versus one tag team. There you go. Wow. Well, that was something that I think gave Miz the sign to maybe it's time to do something else.
The Awesome Truth, man, is just, well, there you go. You said it earlier.
It was. It was great. It was fun while it lasted.
Well, but to your point about what you said when we talked about our truth and what we thought was going to happen.
Yep.
And so, well, it did.
Yep. Did we want it to happen? But was it going to? That's the difference. There's a distinction between us thinking of something that we want to happen and us liking it actually happening. And in many cases, I think we're pretty transparent on the things that we want to happen that are likely to happen. But in some cases, it's just like, man, you know what? I don't like what's about to go down. But here it is anyway. I like it as tag team champions.
Yeah, and so interesting. I'm going to give you a few previews for next week, and then we'll close this out with one final thought.
But congrats to the new tag team champions.
Absolutely.
May they run be intense and long as possible. Please be kind and rewind. Yeah, they will charge you $1. Okay, they will charge you $2.50 not to rewind that movie. Ha.
Unbelievable. So going into next week's Raw.
Okay.
Here we go. We got. Now, what you missed today is Liv Morgan had sent something that had Carlito looking like crazy eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, look at even JD's got his hand over.
Oh, you know what he was
looking showing at? The crew. He's showing the crew. What is...
right.
What was the Snoop Dogg? Was it Snoop Dogg or was it Nate Dogg that said it ain't no fun?
You ain't got to prove. You ain't got to finish that yet. We already know. Whoa. That would almost look like, man. Yo, I feel a little nervous seeing this. Carlito.
And so again, for next week's match, we do have Liv Morgan versus Selena Vega. Selena did come out and told Liv she's been so worried about. I'm quoting here, so don't grill me for this.
Okay.
She's been worried about mommy's sloppy seconds.
Right.
That she's taken her eye off the prize that she has, and so Selena wants it. They got into an altercation, and Rey Mysterio came out to separate them. And guess who came out to save and split them apart and get and pushed Ray?
Who?
Dirty Dom.
What?
Setting up for next Monday's Raw.
Yeah.
Again. Didn't I say like 5 hours ago like that Rey Mysterio could face somebody other than Dominic?
Yeah, we made reference to that.
And again, that was when Raw was live. So here I am. Here we are. Next week's Raw. Surprise!
Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise. Sorry. Yeah. Well, you know what? He needs it, though. Rey Mysterio and Dominic need this. Well, Dominic needs it.
Go on.
Dominic needs to practice. Ray needs the tutelage. They need to give us a better result than the WrestleMania match that we had them in. What better way to do that than to put them on Raw where they got extended time? They don't have to worry about cutting to commercial. And so, they will have, unlike not having the ability to cut to commercial during WrestleMania, they will have that ability because, the presentation of it on regular TV. That being said, Rey Mysterio needs to put some more work on Dom. Dom, I believe Dom has earned and captured the interest of those that make decisions. They need him to be able to wrestle better so that way they can capitalize on those interests. That's why I think we're gonna have a little bit more of Ray. That's why I think we're gonna have a little bit more of Ray versus Dominic, and because he needs it. He needs it. I think that's the one thing he's missing. Dominic is true, genuine skill.
Yeah, I think he has it. I think we're just holding him a little bit we're holding him to a different kind of standard than most. But we're gonna take our final 20, and then we're going to have our very last topic and our final thoughts. Stick with us.
What it do, sports fans? It's your man BSJ from the Shop Report. And guess what? The shop is now open for business, baby. If you're on Facebook, go to our fan page, The Shop Report, click on more, and then shop to view all products. Or if you're on Instagram, click on the shop tab to see all our products. What you want me to do? I'm selling merch here.
All right, we are back and going into our last topic of the day. This is a look at Seth freaking Rollins. Is he Mr. Money in the Bank? Because he's 4-1, I believe, or 5-1. Well, no, he would be 4-1 and heading into this year's. Seth Rollins, 4-1.
All right, which one did he win?
I want to say it was against Finn. Remember? He lost the title to Finn. Wait a minute.
Wait.
No, wait a minute.
World Heavyweight. No, this is a World Heavyweight Championship. Universal AJ Styles. He beat AJ Styles.
Mm-hmm.
He defended against Drew. Wait a minute. Was that ladder match? Hold on. Money in the Bank. No, I think his loss came against Roman.
Yep, that was it. Okay.
Yeah, he lost to Roman. Yep.
Okay, that works. Does that change anything for you? Does he go 4-2 or does he go 5-1? Now that you just saw the Judgment Day get 2 more belts.
Mm,
Does it change anything? Going strong here.
Because if the Judgment Day ends up retaining that, then as much as I want them to break up, everybody got belts now.
So, literally,
right? And that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, got to separate what I want from what I think will happen.
Oh, what you want? Oh, do tell.
No, what I mean, try to remain unbiased. It's like, no, I don't want. I want Judgment Day to dissolve and let those guys go. And I think Judgment Day has served its purpose for each of the members there. Let it dissolve so that way these guys can be better, right?
I think that can't happen until Mommy returns.
Yeah,
because then you could get. And now I'm really cooking.
Okay.
Oh, man. Oh, okay. I'm flipping the fries now. Oh, man.
No, flipping the fries.
We're going. All right. Give me. I'm going to say very early is SummerSlam, and we're going to get there in a second. But I'm not SummerSlam. Yeah, maybe SummerSlam.
Okay.
Mommy and Finn. Liv, Dominic. In a mixed tag team.
Mommy and Flynn, Liv, Dominic. But when?
Well, this is why I'm saying I think the earliest would be SummerSlam.
The earliest would be SummerSlam. That's a great match.
Unless somehow, I mean, look, Liv was in 5 segments tonight.
Yeah.
And
making her impression.
Yeah, absolutely. But she displayed new merch that Megan wants.
Oh,
Daddy's girl.
Ooh.
Seeing if she's still watching. So I don't think it's going to dissolve anytime soon. I think that would be record speed of that. So with that being said, this is currently what we have slated for Money in the Bank.
So we've got, oh yeah, that Sami Zayn Braun Breaker match. I'm looking forward to that.
Who you got?
The entire card?
Absolutely. Dude, I mean, what are your thoughts more so? First, at just a high level, are you pumped for this, or are you not feeling it anymore?
Nah, this card here, I'm actually, listen, I'll tell you, I'm actually finally starting to be a bit more, I'm selling myself a little bit more on Bloodline, on this incarnation of Bloodline.
I think we see Jimmy Uso come back.
Yeah. But come back in what capacity?
You see Yeet down there?
Yeah.
This is the start of something. He's got to be on his way back. I don't know in what capacity. That's the interesting part. That's the hard, really the most difficult part for me right now is to figure out, does the Jimmy and Jay thing go on? Does, where do we go from here? Especially if Roman is supposed to be back probably by SummerSlam. So what does it take from in that tag team match to really start setting a stage? I mean, because if we do have Solo versus Cody, Solo gets mopped up by Cody, and then Roman comes out at that point, but that would be Roman and Cody. That wouldn't be, you see what I mean? We don't get the Randy Cody thing. Then do you go Bloodline versus Bloodline? OG Bloodline versus the new ones. I don't know. There's a lot of interesting points. So I always stress everybody in the comments, by all means, chime in. There are a lot of you, and we appreciate that sticking with us this long too.
Yeah, so this card is built up to be a really good one. It didn't start out that way at first, for me, but over time, what we can see is a quality card with matches that make sense for one another, that are pick'ems in a sense, except for Braun and Aiden. I'm firmly in the seat of Braun winning that title. I mean, I said Aiden, Sami Zayn. I'm firmly in the seat of Braun winning that title. Wait a minute.
No, remember, that's where we think it's going to be a fatal 4-way.
5, 6, 7, 8 way. I don't care if it's 9, 10, 11, 12. Whoever it is, Braun come home with that belt.
Man.
And then No Yeet is in the, what is that? Isn't that next to Gable? No Yeet?
Next to Gable.
Yeah, bro. Look on the left side of this card. Look underneath Damian and Seth. Who's in the?
No, that is Yeet. That is King Yeet.
Yeet. Well, who is the bottom right?
That's Yeet as well.
The same Yeet.
Wait a minute.
Wait, that's what I'm saying. Nah, see, I thought it was me.
Well, because here's the thing. Look, we'll look at this in a different light, if you will. Right now, this is where we stand. There's still 2 more spots. Yeah, main event Jay won the crap. Yeah, he won to qualify a while ago. So it was him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So as far as why they're showing him twice,
could be telling, right?
Very telling. Wait a minute. What the heck?
Yeah. See, you thought it was just me. Go ahead.
Yeah. Now, Rikishi. Breaking news from Rikishi.
Okay.
I think Roman Reigns comes back. You know, maybe the twins come back, turn babyface, tag team back up. You know, have Paul Heyman with them and go against Solo Sikoa and the crew. Therefore, implying he's.
Man, I ain't listening to Rikishi right now. I ain't listening to him. He just throwing noise. He just throwing smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. All right.
I ain't listening to him right now.
Crap.
Could be wrong. I mean, that's his. They are his sons. Who am I to say?
Let's see. No, I mean Jay's in it.
Yeah,
that was a few weeks ago. That's right. That's when he had the Fireflies and all that.
Right. And he, now you see his comments about those. He retiring the Fireflies. He's like,
He's
like, bro, why is 6? Y'all can have them. Y'all can have
right.
Oh, well, none of that energy.
Nope.
Thank you very much for the time. It was great while it lasted. I just put these car keys right over here. Thanks for the test drive. You go ahead, man.
Absolutely.
And it was only right that he did so.
All right, so then we will turn it over to our final thoughts of the evening. Take it away, Gully. What do you got?
Yeah, we had to cover a lot today. All right, we had to chew on a lot, but I'm actually starting to feel where the bloodline is. I'm actually starting to feel the approach of the bloodline. Uh-oh, where'd you go?
Oh no, I'm here. I'm giving you the spotlight.
Oh, okay, got you. I'm actually starting to feel the approach of the bloodline. Right, it took a while for it to cook. Y'all know how I feel about them. And the persona versus the presentation versus the reputation that preceded them, and how I think it went totally awry. But now it's getting back centered, getting back in focus. Damian Priest, I think there's a sun setting coming soon for him in that title. Don't know if it's Money in the Bank. Wouldn't be surprised if it is. Braun Breaker is on his way as well. So, Sami Zayn, go ahead and take as many pictures as you need to with that title, because it's coming off of you at Money in the Bank. In terms of improvement, Yeet, y'all getting me on that on him being that guy. I ain't ready yet. I don't think he's ready yet. I don't think he's ready yet. But I'm just one person. Keep doing what he's doing. Keep showing up. And all right, I might be able to see it. But you know one thing I wanted to ask you, Production Jay?
Yes, sir. Let's hear it.
It was related. No, it was something related to the move from Netflix. The move to Netflix for Raw.
Okay.
Why is Raw going to get 2 hours, but SmackDown going to get 3?
I honestly, you want my opinion on that?
Yeah,
you really want my opinion on that? Because I think you should know better. That Vince Russo, because of Vince Russo, what Vince Russo proved a long time ago was that SmackDown could be the A product, and that by making that Friday night program 3 hours, you could do a lot more with a lot of those others that in those quote unquote mid cards and with the other belts, and get a lot more storyline in. Because as you saw, I told you, I think there was 2 weeks that went by, we had 4 matches and 5 matches.
Right.
Now you needed the extra hour to be able to get the additional storylines moving. And it really have an impact, especially when we're having these 2-night type of programs.
Sure.
That in order to truly have night one be, we'll say SmackDown only type of thing, that if for that to truly be sustainable, you've got to have a 1 and 1A type of product. You can't have an A and B program. And the same way that, basically we would be in an era that John Cena getting traded to or drafted to SmackDown would have stayed.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So SmackDown gives you more wrestling. So you need 3 hours, give you more matches.
And Raw's gonna pack a punch. I mean, this is, that they say the adrenaline rush of bull riding or jumping out of a plane, albeit both very short.
Yeah.
Naturally will get the BPMs up there.
Yeah, for sure.
This, on the other hand, SmackDown is more of a jog.
Got you. More, yeah. It's a 400 meter.
Absolutely.
Instead of a 100. By the way, shout out to the Olympic trials that were going on. Shout out to Team USA and the field that we're our beloved America is going to field in the Olympics here in a couple weeks. For all the athletes that are participating and proud to represent your country, appreciate it, and do well. Wish you all the best. And that is it for me. What say you, Production Jay?
All right. Let's dive right into this. first and foremost, want to shout out the new tag team champions. I was so over the Awesome Truth. It was, I would have taken a terrible lie. And
all right, well,
and so additionally,
a terrible lie. All right, for sure, right.
I will say this. During tonight's show.
Yep.
Karrion Kross said, do you want to be Marty Jannetty or do you want to be Shawn Michaels?
Ooh.
Matter of fact, I think Marty Jannetty's on my friend list.
Oh.
First of all, as I pointed out, that guy that push could really be there and be sustainable. He's got it.
All right.
When you're cutting promos like that, that's not quite Austin 316 says I just kicked your, you know what?
Yeah.
But it was certainly a mic drop and worth mentioning. And I don't believe the Judgment Day is dead. I think they're far from it.
Okay.
We go back a year and these guys were somewhat on top of the world, but they didn't have the titles that they have now. They've only continued to add, and I've shown you going back to the Edge, Adam Copeland, who I didn't include his accolades.
Right.
It would have pretty much doubled what they have achieved as a faction. You can't break that up because they themselves already are worth being in that top 5 factions of all time.
What?
Based on achievements alone, we would have to go and look. But they have.
Yeah, we might have to take a deep dive on that one.
And so that's worth mentioning or certainly investigating. Mm-hmm. But now we have Finn, who was in purgatory.
Yes.
He's got a title. Finn has a title.
Finn has a win.
That's right. No more pin for Finn.
No more pin for Finn. He has a win, so the reign can begin.
He's not a pin cushion anymore.
Exactly. I like that. We should end on that note because we have bars right there.
Absolutely. And so with that being said, next week, as promised, our apologies. We thought Gully was going to be
we had a schedule adjustment that we needed to make, but everything turned out to be normal time. So we expect next week to be as well normal time. And we're going to give to y'all something that we had promised, and that was the list, our wrestling game list.
Yes.
Which one specifically? Which angle are we talking about? Are we talking about our top 10, our favorite?
I would say I'm going to give you the autonomy right now. We're going to do this on the spot. Johnny on the spot. You've seen someone else's list.
Yep.
You've seen what they used as criteria.
Yep.
You saw what you agreed with and what you didn't agree with. What would you prefer that we must incorporate? And those in the comments, even if you're seeing this post, throw in not just your favorites, but throw in what you think we should consider in our criteria also. But things like cover art were not mentioned. Again, we came from an era, for me, that you had to peek through that looking glass. See, what am I getting?
Yeah, bro, you wasn't just downloading that. Cover art had to sell you. And I'm going to tell you, it's one game alone that I think cover art should have given in. Yeah, cover art, if nothing else, cover art should put it on the list. And I'm going to save it there. I might just put it on. It might just have to be number 10 just because of that. It's one game for sure.
What else do you feel would be what is a must in your wrestling video games of all time?
Okay, so cover art is a criteria. you talk about replay value, right? What that means, I guess, the ability to play the game, enjoy the game, and then want to pick it back up again, right? Want to replay. Okay, replayability, of course, that makes it. Sound is a big one, right? How did the game sound? How did the game sound? Did it sound like? Did it sound disjointed, like games of the 90s that sounded like you were at the, there was a separation between, it sounded like it was on the soundboard versus you felt like you were involved or in the arena sound, right? And when I say sound, I'm talking about the arena sound or whatnot. Then there's also music. Yeah. How did the soundtrack sound?
Ooh.
Right. Yeah. How did the music sound? So those things, and what else?
In fairness to, just to cover this, in fairness to longevity, I'm not going to incorporate DLC.
Correct. Because because I'll put it this way, because if DLC got to bring a game, if DLC is what brings a game over the edge versus a game that could stand alone without it, then with the DLC, you know what I'm saying? That's a bit of a cheat code, right? Because games with DLC are competing games that didn't have it, and the DLC could move every game off the list, and would then I think there's a bit of a problem here. DLC could be mentioned, but I think there's some level of evaluation for DLC, but I don't know how much we should weight it compared to its stock game.
Right. So for me, instead, because of that, because we're not going to have DLC, I want to have both playable areas and rosters.
All right, cool. So we got a big long list. We're gonna have to post that up on all the socials on what our lists are, so that way when we come together with our list.
However, I'm going to add one more curveball in this.
Okay.
We're not doing 10. We're doing 5 and an honorable mention.
Thank you. Because my attention span, I can't count to 10 on those.
Nope. We're not doing that, folks. Not on this program, because we have too much content to get into anyway.
Now, are we doing 5, 1 through 5, or are we just picking our 5 in no particular order?
Oh no, we're going 5 to 1. Your honorable mention is purely your honorable mention. Does not mean it's 6. Could be 600. It is simply worth mentioning because it deserves it.
So the 5 best wrestling games.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I know what my honorable mention is already, because they ain't gonna be in that 5. Oh, all right, cool. All right, yeah, we got it.
And I'm telling you now, there's one. If you remember, one had a hidden wrestler at the end.
Ooh. One had a hidden wrestler at the end.
That's right. You may have not gotten it.
Hold on. Hold on. All right. Hint. Hold on. I'm gonna tell you. You changed the TV channel to select the wrestler, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
All right, now I already know what it is. All right. Yeah.
In another, and this is what I mean, folks. In another, you could change the format by using a certain individual.
All right, man. We gotta let these people go, man.
Yes, right. and the fact that thank you
guys,
the WWE universe in the Turnbuckle universe. You guys are incredible. There are plenty of you that are still with us, which is just remarkable. Gully, for context, there's double digits, and so We want to shout you out across all the platforms, X, of course, Facebook, Twitch. Where am I forgetting? YouTube. We're pretty much everywhere. Again, if you want the merch that is on the Facebook and the Instagram stuff, I'll play that for you quickly before we take off. Because it gives you step by step.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What it do, sports fans? It's your man BSJ from the Shop Report. And guess what? The shop is now open for business, baby. If you're on Facebook, go to our fan page, The Shop Report, click on more, and then shop to view all products. Or if you're on Instagram, click on the shop tab to see all our products. I mean, what you want me to do? I'm selling merch here.
Absolutely. And again, give it about a week. It comes in. My only thing is, like I said, check the dimensions. That's all. But otherwise, comes in clear. You can wash, machine wash, and everything. We are literally playing cards, refrigerator magnets, anything you guys could possibly want. But in terms of these games, wrestling games, top 5 and an honorable mention, feel free, put yours in the comments. I don't want to hear the same 5 that I'm always hearing. I'm sick of those. You couldn't play half of them. You got sick of them, and you were numb to it, as Gully said. So stop lying. Be an individual. And so again, from us, any final thoughts, Gully? Anything we missed? Anything you want to point out for your wrestling criteria, for your game criteria before we take off?
If we missed it, charge it to our head, not our heart. You know what I'm saying? Y'all was there from the start. And on this journey, we will depart. We'll see you next week. Tune in. Remember, like we always say, like our esteemed host says, next time, if you really want to know what's going on at the shop,
man, walk-ins are always welcome.
Holla.